up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going, Celtic Warrior Shaman?
Soda.
And I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Shit.
We're live. Thank you for coming back to episode 1 of Wrestling on the Rocks. That's right, Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show, because we promise you one thing: we will not figure this out. We've been desperately trying to figure out how this stuff works for so long, and we're not getting any closer. We're not getting any better. We're doing so poorly, our listeners are doing better than us. They start a show because of us, and they go, oh, I'm going to do a thing like that too. And then they've immediately surpassed us in every way because they know how this stuff works. Guys, I am at Ref Marsh. Kev, tell people, say what's up.
What's up? I'm Kevlar on the Rocks with an X. That's it. On Twitter.
And we do have the producer over here. Is Mike.
Okay, but that's not what I sound like, so.
Producer has Mike.
I hear an echo.
Oh, it's going to be a good episode 1.
Yeah.
Oh, I just did not make a huge mess over here. So that's good. What? Kev, I'm putting Svedka.
Do we have our first clump of the night?
We've clumped. We've got an official clump. We do not have clump on the show, so there's nothing more I can do to what do you call that when you're trying to like represent him, I guess. There's nothing more I can do for clump. Yeah.
No.
Except for actually spill all over myself. Kev, for me, what's in my glass, I'm going to tell you right here at the top of the show because I'm excited for it. It's Svedka vodka, sponsored, not sponsored. But the real highlight, the real star of the show in my drinks, kind of lately on these ones, has been the Brooklyn Crafted Ginger Beer, extra spicy. We got it. It says a bold, unfiltered ginger kick. I believe that would be the haluva kick, right? Bold, unfiltered ginger kick, haluva kick, Sami Zayn.
Oh, I was going for brogue kick.
Oh.
I was going for brogue kick.
Shit, you better read them out loud. I don't have my chat open yet.
Thanks for coming in, Dutchy Girl, and just in time. Welcome.
And cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's only the first show. Kev, what are you drinking? What's in your? Well, I was going to tell you, I got the Brooklyn drink. I got the Brooklyn drink because of a friend of the show. I'm hearing. Hold on. Their TW Takes came on the show a week or so back, and so in honor of him, we got Brooklyn ginger beer and Irish whiskey and made drinks there because he is an Irish New Yorker. Kev, as long as we're talking about TW Takes, tell us what's in your glass, and then tell us about the watch along with TW Takes this weekend.
There's going to be a few things in my glass tonight, but I'm starting off actually with a glass of Behringer's in honor of my buddy Sam. Today would be his birthday. Rest in peace, buddy. I miss you. Cheers to you. And so this weekend, TW Takes and yours truly at Wrestling on the Rocks are doing a Royal Rumble watch along. Still got a couple spots in for a Wrestling on the Rocks shirt giveaway. Mm-hmm. And
giving away 2 shirts, 1 shirt for each Rumble. And Takes is going to be giving away a wrestle pins of a certain rattlesnake you may be familiar with.
Ooh, is it the Western Diamondback?
I mean, is that native to Texas?
There's a couple. I mean, they're in a few states.
All right. Well, tell people how they can even get one, man. We're giving away 2 shirts and a pin. How do they get it?
I don't know about the pin. That's TW Takes thing. But for our shirts, we're giving one away for the women's Rumble, one for the men's. Just hit me up on Twitter, Kevlar on the Rocks with an X. Just DM me, say, hey, I want in, or go on our Facebook page. I think we have it pinned, the thread or message.
Yep.
You can enter there. Just say, hey, put me in, jackass, and you'll be entered. And then sometime between now and then, we'll draw balls to see what entrant number you get, and if that person that enters the Rumble with that number, you win.
Wait. What do we do with balls?
Yeah, I love it. Your audio cut out for a second, so you said we're gonna drop balls. It's like we're gonna drink balls. Is what
I heard we're gonna drop balls.
We're gonna drop balls.
Yeah, it's what happens.
Yeah, I don't think any of those.
Drop them.
All of those, I think you're correct. I don't think any of those is a bad answer, to be honest.
No.
Anybody who has looked, or anybody who's been watching Rumble for a long time, back in the early 90s, they had the old bingo ball roller. Well, Kevlar got one out just to roll your balls and get you a number to put you up in this Royal Rumble. See if we can't get you a couple of shirts.
Just to drop your balls.
Yeah, he's just trying to drop your balls.
Yeah.
Just in time, just balls dropped.
Also, welcome to the chat, Liam Moonlight.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Liam Moonlight, thanks for coming through.
Hey, cheers. Wrong end.
There's
Cheers.
We don't know that person, right? They're here too often, and we don't have like real fans anymore.
We never had real
Anymore?
fans.
We had a couple refunds. I remember Sam Stackhouse. That was our number one fan for first 6 months of episode 1. He was like Carl Ripken. And then once I designed him a T-shirt, he goes, all right, I'm done. Did it. He put the T-shirt on his own PWTs, and he's like, all right, got it. Anyways, thanks for coming through. Cheers. Yes, go to any of our social medias from any of us. Go to WrestlingOnTheRocks.com and just hit, what is the link we have up there? Contact something. Let me look it up. I'm going to go to our website right now. Wrestling on the Rocks. I got to be more familiar with our fucking website.com. It's on. If you're watching live, it's on the screen below. If you're listening to the podcast, you can go there under links. There is a bunch of links. Oh, my drawing of Edge and Dustin Rhodes is in there. That's cool. I like that. Let's see. Yeah, we have it in there. Any of our social medias, Instagram, Twitter. If you look up the About, the Hall of Champions pulls up, and there's all of our social medias in there as well. And any DM to anybody in those will be able to get you entered. There are only a few slots left, but there are still a few slots left, and we want to get that done before the weekend because this watch-along is going to be dope. Don't message Clump. Actually, it's a great call out.
Yeah.
He'll never find it. We're going to find out that he's got a DM filled, just like 30 DMs of people being like, oh,
Yeah, I know.
shirt.
I want in, please.
Yeah. Come on, please. I'm begging you. And then, we'll post up the video where they give out the numbers, and we'll all be good. Kev?
Yeah.
I think that's all I have for the top of the show as far
Yes,
as
sir.
just getting some of that stuff out of the way. So let's talk a little bit about the news, the big news. I already forgot 2 of them.
Yep.
We had 3 ready. We had 3 lined up on the way in. I gotta write shit
Peacock.
down, dude. That's the big one. The big one is Peacock. What's bigger than a peacock?
It has
The WWE
has nothing
Network.
to do.
Go ahead.
No.
Nothing to do with
I was
what?
gonna say, just you forgetting shit has nothing to do with what's in your glass.
Nope. It's my utter frustration at the setup of the show. Oh, Peacock and WWE Network have joined forces to become the Universal Tag Team Champions of the world. As far as I can tell, NBC bought the rights of all streaming services for WWE Network. I do think, although I didn't see anybody say it outright, I think that means those Hulu versions, the playbacks that are only like half the time because they cut out all tag team and women's wrestling, I think that's gone now, which I'm fucking stoked for.
Yeah.
Maybe not. If they got all the exclusive, streaming rights, they would have to, right? But the WWE Network doesn't show any, like, they're a month behind on this stuff. So I wonder how that's going to play out, to be honest.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think because Fox isn't gonna say no. Because Fox is in with Hulu.
Are they? Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah, because of Disney and all that other jazz, ESPN. It's just
So
going to turn
maybe-
into a giant turf war,
Well, maybe.
gang style.
I did think it was really interesting that it was NBC, and NBC is not obviously Fox or USA. And I was like, wait, Fox and USA are putting out their weekly product, and NBC's all like, yeah, but we got the network. So it's like, what?
Well, I thought USA and NBC were in cahoots.
Are they affiliated?
NBC Universal? I thought so.
Oh,
I could be
Yeah.
completely wrong.
maybe that's true.
But that's what makes us wrestling journalists.
Yeah, we'll just make it up, and we'll say they definitely are.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I heard about it from the inside. Definitely they're in cahoots. So here's the thing. Let me get your take on it, because you have Peacock. I've said that about you for a very
Yes.
long time, but you also have the app, right?
Yeah, I dabble in a little bit of Peacock.
Yeah, you're a dabbler. So I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know the big hoopla, but there's a lot of people online complaining that the Peacock app is no good, and they're concerned that the WWE Network being imported into that app is going to make it a lot more difficult. What do you think about the Peacock app in and of itself?
I've had it for a few months, and I can see where people get frustrated, but I truthfully only watch it once every month just for some soccer games. So I couldn't, just being unfamiliar with it, I could see where people get upset, but like I said, I haven't been, using it enough to be like, all right, yes, this sucks because of this. I just figured it sucks because I don't use it.
I mean, that's a huge point,
If
too.
that makes sense.
I'll tell you, it sounded a lot to me, a lot of the people talking bad about it, sounded a lot to me like when people they refused to buy the new iPhone because it didn't have a home button. And
I
they're
was
like,
very against the home button for the longest time.
Right?
And then my phone broke and I had no choice.
And you're all like, fuck! And now what do you think about not having a home button?
It sucks. I'm just kidding. It's good.
Well,
No,
my
I
home button's not so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I put a sticker on my screen just to replicate it.
Yeah. No, I mean, you just get used to not using it. Kind of like going to the stores now. I'm used to wearing a mask.
Yeah. You learn how to use a thing that it's new. It truly, to me, felt an awful lot like you just feel like it's uncomfortable and you have to learn something. But fucking Christ, like, can we get over that as a society, that things are going to change? This weird hang-up that every single generation has. This isn't a generational gap. It's not like a boomer versus millennial. Every single generation. I can tell you from working in tech for the past, 20 years almost, every generation has the people like, oh, I'm not really a computer guy, so I wouldn't be able to tell you what a power cable looks like. What? Do you have a vacuum?
Yeah.
You know? Like, the idea, there's this hang up of, I don't want to learn a thing that I don't already know. At what age is it ever appropriate to just hit that wall of, I've learned everything I'm comfortable knowing? What?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So the idea of the apps merging, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to obviously have to learn a new thing. I still prefer the way that the WWE Network app was laid out prior to the big update they made, a year and a half ago. But I'm not sitting here complaining about the WWE Network every day. And a lot of people were all like, oh my God, the network's so perfect. Why would you ever do this? I was like, what? It's hard to find stuff now. It used to be easier. I don't like how they group stuff. But,
Yeah.
oh well, we learned how to deal with it. I'm sorry, Kev. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know, I was going to agree with you. I hate the way, you try and search for one thing and it brings up a bunch of different shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, I just want this one specific thing. But, you get over it. Adapt and move on. That's it.
Yeah. You learn a new thing. And
Yeah.
learning the outlet, the fucking layout of an app, come on. This is your stress point. This is where it's too much for you to handle.
Yeah, this is going to push them over the edge.
Yeah. Imagine if when your car breaks down and you guys had to get a new car recently, imagine if your wife was just like, no, it has to be an identical car because I will not learn a new radio system inside of my car. Like, what?
Well, that's funny, because I actually did replace the radio in her new car to replicate the old car.
I wish I'd known that. I'd set up that joke even better. Turns out it's true. When he got her a new car, he had to put the old radio in the new car.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was being a dick. Turns out it's true. Well, then maybe they're onto something. Fuck this merger. It's not okay. Dude, I've even heard people go so far as to say, is like, look, if I go into Peacock and I click the WWE Network icon in there, and then it's business as usual and nothing else has changed at all, only then will I be okay. And it's like, fuck, dude, no. Things are going to be a little different.
And it's okay. They might fix it. It might get better.
Yeah, you have two different teams now effectively, hopefully, potentially partnering up to make this thing a better experience for all. Justin Time says this in the chat, and I thought it was a really good thing, and I'll let you answer it. He says, it's crazy how there was just all this talk about tiers coming to the WWE Network, and now it's part of Peacock. Such a wacky difference. Do you remember that? They were talking about putting in like 3 different tiers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they even said it on one of their finance calls or shareholder calls or whatever.
Yeah, the free tier, the regular tier, and premium tier or whatever they were going to do.
And then, so now it's got a free network, and then
So NBC just stepped up and said, hey,
go ahead,
just pay us, and we'll pay for all your tiers.
I mean, kind of, yeah. But they're even doing it for half, right? So right now, you either have free network or you have the $9.99 network. And except I think international pricing is different, to be honest. I think I have heard that there are different price tiers in internationally. But for us here in the U.S., because that's who's affecting anyways, you've got free and $9.99. With Peacock, they're saying it's going to be $4.99 to have everything from both channels with commercials, which I can't imagine actually would include pay-per-views. I can't imagine any pay-per-view would have an actual cut, but
that'd be hilarious.
So crazy. But so you have with commercials, which I'd also wonder how the commercials would be imported, because was it Hulu that would just put them in there by timestamp? So sometimes you'd be mid-sentence and it would cut to commercial?
Yeah.
So I wonder how they would do that.
I don't know if they still do.
That's true. And then there's the going to be the $9.99 premium version without commercials, which makes me think it's going to be with limited commercials, because even the Hulu no commercial one has commercials. It's just less. And then there was like a third tier there where it was like, okay, this one we're serious. There's actually no commercials in this other one. It's fucking ridiculous. But
this time we're for real.
Yeah. I think another really cool aspect of this is that WWE just sold their streaming rights for $1 billion to NBC. They made that almost $1 billion, or maybe it was, with Fox and their TV deal. It really seems to me like this key demo talk is really not sure what they're talking about, right? I mean, if ratings are worse than ever, then how are they selling off bits of their company for billions? You know what I mean?
Billions.
And not selling off. It's not like it's a chop shop. But I do wonder, do you think at all, Kev, that this is a sign of Vince McMahon beginning to break his personal stronghold on the WWE? Do you think he's going to sell the company off to a bigger company and maybe give the company up?
I don't know. I mean, I could kind of see maybe. I mean, I could kind of see that could be the beginning of the road of him doing that. Mm-hmm. But I did look up, and yes, NBC Universal owns USA, so it's not, that crazy that Peacock decided to, do more with WWE, especially losing SmackDown.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point.
But
We lost $1 billion losing SmackDown. Well, what if we get the rest of it?
why don't we
Take all your
spend $1
pay-per-views,
billion? Yeah,
please. Yeah.
yeah. And they're gonna. Yeah, I think. I think it's great. I think just WWE being exposed more and more. On Fox, they're Friday nights. That's their show. We see commercials during football games and other broadcasts, and it's great. And is this a sign of Vince maybe walking away? Maybe he's not necessarily going to sell it to a bigger company, but maybe he's setting it up for Steph and Shane and Triple H to have to do as least as possible and still profit off of it.
Yeah. I wonder if he's going to sell the CEO title, and if someone like a Triple H steps into that director's chair. Because when you think about it, Vince McMahon is a billionaire of $1 billion company, and he runs as a CEO a company different than any other CEO runs any other company in the world. He's in the director's chair the whole time. I was making the comparison to producer lady, was it a day or two ago, and I was like, can you imagine if the owner of Paramount Pictures was just sitting next to the director the whole time, had to direct every film? The owner of Pixar's like, no, I've got to be there for every Toy Story frame that's meeting you guys are doing. That shit just doesn't happen on that level, but it happens in the WWE.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we get a President Triple H and a CEO Walt Disney. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I guess I'm excited for it because for me, that means that I pay the same amount and get more channels and stuff. I now get The Office for free.
Now you can watch soccer.
I can watch soccer now, European kickball. It's exciting. With as much as I love wrestling, how excited I'll be to watch more fake sports. So soccer is right up my alley.
Hey.
What?
It's amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm all about people running back and forth doing nothing. Let me see. Yeah, was there anything else you want to say about the Peacock deal? I don't think it's as horrible as people are saying. I've even seen people being like, "Well, that's it. I'm canceling everything." You're like, okay, so you're one of those diehard fans. I have a theory that the majority of people who are big wrestling fans saying, "Well, that's it. I'm canceling my subscription," don't actually have a subscription now. If your thought is, "Oh, they're merging with another platform, and it's still streaming all the same content, therefore I'm done," you never were watching it. You weren't doing it.
Well, all that proves is that they were using their buddy's login. Now there might be stricter, there might be harder restrictions to get across with that, and they're pissed.
Yeah, 100%.
Damn it! I don't get to watch this shit for free.
Yeah,
I have to pay $5.
Just in time does say, "Dear God, the thought of Mickey Mouse appearances on the show keep WWE away from Disney." I disagree. If you do not remember when Raw was hosted by the Muppets, then you got to go back and find that. That is when we found out that Beaker is the cousin of Sheamus, and that is part of WWE canon. So
yeah,
go back and watch where the Muppets were on Raw and know what makes a WWE Disney merger so exciting.
But imagine the Mandalorian. Yeah, and imagine the Mandalorian joining Lucha House Party. It'd be great.
Oh yeah, Mandalorian joins Lucha House Party. Otis is already half Muppet. Sheamus and his cousin reunited. Pff, come on. Yeah. It's a no-brainer, man.
And they have the Simpsons. Homer could do commentary. It'd be great.
So good. Shut up, Michael Cole. Don't.
No.
Yeah. Unless there's anything else you want to say about Peacock, I'm not upset by this. I'm not bothered by this. I think a lot of people need to slow down, give it a minute to breathe. Let's see what we get on the other side. People are talking about how horrible the layout is already. It's never even happened. They're acting like, I've seen people say things like, I can't imagine having to shuffle through and sift through all of NBC programming just to find the wrestling I want to see. Or the people who are all like, I watch wrestling all the time. I have no desire to be shuffling through all. Why would people who watch NBC want to see wrestling and all of their stuff? And you're like, it's not a fucking deck of cards, guys.
No, it's gonna be one tab. You click it. That's it.
Yeah,
Fucking
there's-
game over. Shut the fuck up and get over
What?
it.
Real 21st century challenges here.
I know. It's like, how do you imagine coding works? It's a mess. It's gonna be jumbled. Although I agree with you, I think the idea of it being associated with NBC, I think means we'll see more commercials for WWE. I think the Young Rock coming to NBC is not an accident, and I think that potentially we could start seeing, like when we're watching football and we see WWE commercials, and you and I get hyped and we smile about that stuff. Go, this is dope. We're gonna see more stuff like that, because no one's watching USA for any other reason. Go ahead, producer.
Nope.
Wait, so where are the documentaries going to be?
Well, the WWE Network is going to be part of Peacock, so yes.
Because that would be cool to see commercials for those documentaries, too.
Oh, imagine that, dude. You're watching your soccer, your little European kickball, and then a commercial for Chronicle comes on.
Especially for, like, the Legends.
Whoa.
The Yokozuna one's coming out soon.
No.
Yeah, Yokozuna
no.
Icons. Imagine that. There's a commercial for Yokozuna Icons in the middle of your European kickball, being like, he's a mammoth! I don't remember what they called him, but...
No, I do not want my stuff mixed together. I see what these people are complaining about now.
No.
And see, I'm just excited because I get to save $10 a month now.
I
Better
know.
than switching to Geico.
Yeah. Dude, I was sitting there going like, all right, I just got NBC for free. That's pretty cool. And then when I asked you, do you have Peacock? And you're like, I already have it. And I was like, well, perfect. Then you get to cancel WWE. And you're like, oh, shit, that's right. Sweet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a win-win. I think people are overreacting because they want to, and I think that it's really easy to hate on people's successes. And I think this is a huge successful move for WWE. And it shows just how valuable they are, regardless whatever people are saying, like the Meltzers and the Alvarezes about ratings and thinking that that's the only marker for success. It is clear to me with this deal that the key demo and the ratings, the Nielsen ratings, are not the sole point of data that advertisers are looking for when making big deals. You know what I mean? There's too many other data factors.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it now is because I think most of those ratings are just live ratings, right? And I think what they're finding out is, like me, I don't watch any wrestling live besides pay-per-views, and half of those I watch afterwards.
Yeah, that's
but
true too.
Excuse me. I think because you're seeing more and more companies doing their own solo apps and streaming service and stuff like that, because I think that's where they're seeing that this is going, because there's a lot of people that are canceling just flat out cable subscriptions, so the commercials aren't really mattering as much as they used to.
Yeah, they're not. It's just there's a lot different story there, and none of us really know, but we can kind of make sense of it in our minds a little bit because we're wrestling journalists now and we like to make up stuff. But we don't know that stuff. We don't understand contracts. That's just kind of our deal. But what we can tell is that is clearly not the only data point anymore. Yeah. So the fact that we still harp on about it is kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, and I think some of it has to do also with, the double standards that are out there. Like, me, I hate double standards. One of my biggest pet peeves. And
sure, you've always said that.
Like you said, I think that, I sent you that meme between, second grade. I always hated them. But
every time you're sitting there, like, why don't you have to do the fucking quiz, teacher? This is bullshit. It's a double standard.
Yeah. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out.
But I was just gonna bring up, like, everyone. I sent you that meme about WWE and AEW, how AEW, everyone's gawking over Sting, this and that, and then Goldberg comes back to WWE. And, oh my God, another old legend. What are you doing? And it's like, I think a lot of this hate is just hate for WWE, and that's it.
Yeah.
They're making bigger, bolder moves again, and people just shit on them just because they're WWE. They're anti-establishment.
They're just pissed because they know Goldberg would whoop Sting's ass again, man. Goldberg's an ass whooper.
Yeah.
Producer had something she wanted to say?
Yeah, I agree with Kevlar. And, I agree with him. And also, I think if let's say Vince sold the company, and what if all the family just said, you know what, we're all billionaires, we're good, we don't need the company, because they don't.
No.
If I was a billionaire, I don't know if I'd be doing his, like everyday work like they are.
If I got one weekly paycheck from Triple H, I would retire now. I would invest it in a different way, and I would say I'm not working ever again.
Yeah, so I mean, the same people who are like hate watching or absolutely hate the company, well, okay, what if it one day disappears?
Yeah.
And all you have is AEW and small promotions everywhere. Then what? Are you really going to be as excited? Because I think it's a whole different world.
Yeah. Is that the end game you want? Because I'll tell you, I don't see. I mean, everything can change. Everything can always change. AEW is not the competition against WWE like WCW was, and I don't see companies pining for AEW right now. I mean, they're making some good moves, obviously, and they did some good contract stuff with TNT. So there is something there, but there's only so much there, I think. So, yeah, what happens if you get rid of WWE? Are you really in a better place? Are you happier with what you got? And who knows, if you truly got rid of WWE, how much of companies like AEW and Impact are going to start looking a lot more like WWE? You know what I mean? They already do. See, Fat Penis says no one cared when BTE connected with them for the UK. You talking about Being the Elite? What's BTE?
They post snippets. I think they're only in the UK. It's like their channel or whatever.
Who's they? Being the Elite?
No, it's just BTE TV or whatever.
What the fuck is BTE TV? Are you talking about BET? I know that one. What's BTE? I don't watch TV. I watch wrestling. That's it. What's BTE TV? Oh, or they're down 0.3. That tells me in my search.
He's pissed off now that he.
Employment testing, rehabilitation.
He's pissed
I'm
off
not
because he
finding
has to shuffle through it.
Something else? All right. Well, GR Lunar's in the chat. Cheers. He's here for the hot minute, and then he's got to go. You missed it. We were just talking about how excited we are for Goldberg, but you already know Lunar. Lunar's been so hyped for Goldberg. He's so excited for this match this weekend. Dude's been messaging me all week. Couldn't be more excited to see Goldberg take the title and go to WrestleMania as a champion yet again. You know, Goldberg hasn't lost a championship match as a contender in like 20 years. He's fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
It's good.
He's
so
amazing.
Good. Oh, it says BT Sports.
Yeah, it's basically like British.
The British sports thing? All right.
British television sports.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, well, I mean, do you have anything else you want to say about any of that, Kev?
No, I think I'm all peacocked out.
Yeah, you are. Let's see. Lunar says he's got to get on the show one of these days so he can clear the air about how much he loves Goldberg. And the podcast listeners now know his true feelings about Goldberg as a huge Goldberg shill, is what he's saying in the chat. And I mean, yeah, I don't think you gotta come on here and like just shout it to the world. I mean, you could always send in a clip and we'll play it if you want to do like a cameo thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we could AEW it up in here.
Yeah, we could do like AEW. They have cameos all the time. You saw that Sammy Hagar one. Let's see. Oh, well, I want to give a quick cheers and a get well soon on his road through this surgery. X-Pac just had surgery. He was having like ACL, MCL, every CL he could find. Probably a commercial driver's license he probably had redone. The guy's half bionic now, I think, and he's looking good. He posted a video. He said on his own podcast that after the surgery, he truly feels that he's going to be able to have a good 6 matches left in him, and he wants to do some kind of cool run and maybe do something with the NXT guys or something. So if that's true and possible, I am fucking here for it. Cheers to X-Pac, Sean Waltman, and here's to a speedy recovery.
Yes, cheers. Get well soon.
Yeah. What was the third piece of business you wanted to talk about real quick? Sasha's birthday. Happy birthday to Sasha. Cheers to Sasha of Mandalorian fame. Probably third best SmackDown's champion I can think of off the top of my head. Ding dong. Hello. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know the third thing. So we can get into it. Let's get into SmackDown, dude. Let's talk.
We'll tweet it.
SmackDown. We'll tweet it if it comes up. Dude, SmackDown opened up.
Dude.
Are you ready for it? You ready for it?
No, I'm ready. Let's do
You
it.
ready? Geared up?
Are you ready?
Are you ready for a good time? Da-da-da-da.
I am now.
Yeah. Dude, it opens up with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman talking mad shit on Kevin Owens. Adam Pearce comes out there and disrespects Roman again. Like, what are you doing, dude? Just being so disrespectful. He starts disrespecting on Paul Heyman. It's like, what are you doing, dude? You can't. If you're disrespectful to Paul, you're disrespectful to the Chief. Get out of your own fucking head, Adam Pearce. Oh my God, this guy. Paul Heyman gets all up in
That's
Adam's
family.
face. That's family. It's La Familia. Paul Heyman tells Adam Pearce to his face, "I'm from New York. I'll whoop your ass." And I was like, what? Isn't he from like Long Island? Turns out he might be from the Bronx. I don't know.
I thought it was from Philly.
He came from fame of Philly because of ECW being out of Philadelphia.
ECW. Yeah.
I was actually thinking it'd be cool if he said, I became famous in Philadelphia for being the most violent person there. You know what I mean? I would have been like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm
So
literally
violent, he kicked
famous
the
in
Fresh Prince
Philadelphia because of how violent I am and encourage others to be. Then you go, oh, shit. But he didn't. He just goes like, I'm from New York. I like pizza, coffee, and punches. That's what I felt about that.
Never mind.
Yeah. Just in time says.
I love coffee.
Yeah.
That sounded like a singles ad or something.
Yeah. I love pizza, coffee, and punches, and long walks with the Universal Champion down the ramp.
I'm
Just in
good,
time says.
guys.
Yeah. Just in time says in the chat, Roman's line about carrying the company on his back for years was fantastic. Yeah, he's like, oh, my back hurts. It's just from all this weight of carrying this company. I loved it, dude. This whole opening promo about cards subject to change, about nagging injuries, Paul Heyman getting a scrap daddy's face, and then Adam Pearce trying to be tough and flex and get big chested and be like, Paul, I'm not taking it from you. And you're like, oh, shut the fuck up. Yes, you are. And then Roman's like, you better kick the shit out of that dude. And Paul Heyman's like, yeah, sure. I don't see why not. Kev, what do you think about this?
It was good. You know, Roman's facial expressions and the way he delivers things now is just so great.
It's insane.
You know, it's like, all right, cool. Now I understand what everyone saw in him backstage and pushed him. If he was doing this for the past, 10 years or whatever, like, he'd be on, like, Charlotte Flair status right now. But people would actually like him.
Yeah, I was actually wondering did he get like some private lessons from The Rock or from like some acting coach or something? Because his little gestures here and there are just like Kevlar said, just so great.
It's incredible.
That's what it
SmackDown...
was. That's exactly what it was. Fast and Furious. It did it for him.
Ooh-ah. Yeah.
Thank Vin Diesel. Little Rock.
Can you imagine? He's like out there doing the thing, and there's like him and Rock are hanging out. They cut everything out of what Roman, because Roman had like nothing in the movie.
Yeah.
Can you imagine they like cut out everything and Roman like just gets a phone call from Rock being like, dude, way to scrap all that. It was garbage, dude. Come see my guy. Come on, come talk to my dude, because what the fuck, man? You're the fucking top of the heap over there. Come on, dude. No wonder Cena keeps coming back. And Roman's like, dude, don't bring him up. Don't bring him up like that, man. Come on.
Stop it.
Yeah, stop, man. I want to talk about that. So, maybe. I mean, I don't think that that's an impossibility that he has gotten help, especially with him diving into the Hollywood world a little bit like that. So it wouldn't be a total shock. You know what I was thinking that SmackDown brings to wrestling that no other wrestling show from any company brings to wrestling right now?
Entertainment.
It's fucking
Entertainment. Yeah.
God.
What? You asked.
God. You guys are jerks, man. They bring subtlety, which no one else is bringing. The subtle little looks with their eyes, the promos they cut with just shooting a glance. We're going to talk about it here in a minute, but like Carmella during the Sasha Banks Reginald match, the way she's looking at Sasha was utterly perfect. It wasn't over the top. Yeah. It wasn't too underplayed. It looked like someone trying to no-sell disappointment. She looked like she was trying not to try. Like, what? That's impossible. If you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It came off so real and so natural because her look was, I'm not happy. I don't want her to know I'm not happy, so I'm not going to play into my unhappiness. I'm going to keep my cool. And there it was, all in her eyes, this, I'm not going to let them see how upset I am. And you're like, whoa. Sami Zayn, all the stuff he's been doing. It's a little over the top, but also incredibly subtle. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off like that. Our audio's slightly off, so I cut you off more on this one than I think I typically try to, just so you know, like there's a little bit of a delay. But, yeah, Sami Zayn, although that he does seem a little bit over the top, if you're really watching him, there's a lot of subtlety to the way that he's talking, the way he's delivering his lines, his little, his little facial expressions. He'll just kind of move his hand just the right way to kind of emphasize something without making a grand gesture. The people on WWE, SmackDown, are bringing a subtlety level that's unmatched by anyone, and it's across the board. Bianca Belair, we'll talk about it too. When she comes over and Otis comes out, she gives this look like, really? And then looks over at Bayley like, this is how you want, and she just kind of smiles and smirks and goes, okay, well then let's do it. It's this, the looks that she's giving, they're telling more with their eyes than they're saying with their words, and that to me is like, that's what separates like just general like TV show sitcom actors and like Oscar actors. Like, I know everything happened with Kevin Spacey that happened, and I don't want to try and put over somebody with a bad history, and I'm not doing that. But I will say that for a long time, Kevin Spacey was one of my favorite actors, and one of my calls to that was always watch his eyes in his stories. He's telling more there than he tells with the dialogue. And I feel like everyone in SmackDown is doing that. So I was glad you brought that up, and I don't mean to like derail the whole thing and talk about every single segment in one fell swoop, but that's kind of the theme I think of SmackDown is, on to Raw. I think it's kind of the theme of SmackDown is there's such amazing subtlety with their performances here, and it started with Roman Reigns and it trickled down throughout the show. So good, man. I'm sorry. You go, Kev. Take the floor.
No, that was about it. No, like I said, he just, just the little mannerisms, like you said, just speaking like so great. And I was, after the end of this segment, I was a little excited for Adam Pearce Paul match.
Yeah,
like I kind of wanted to see Heyman in there.
I know. Here's the thing: is like as soon as they said it, and I was like, oh shit. Jim Cornette said on his podcast more than a couple times that the one thing Paul Heyman could never do right was work a punch. Mm-hmm. So I was like, Adam Pearce is probably going to get a fucking black eye. So there was part of me that was kind of like, this will be neat and weird and just interesting. But honest to God, the second I saw Paul, when it was leading up towards the end, I went, oh, he's going to fake a knee thing. I don't know why. Yeah. But the second I saw him, it hit me. Oh, God, they've been working me this whole show.
It's because he wasn't dressed. He wasn't in any kind of ring gear, like shorts, even sweatpants. Just put him in something else and then have him fake the injury, I think would have been better. But he goes out there in a suit and starts taping up his, hands. And
which was funny.
You're just like, this ain't gonna happen.
It's not going to happen, but I was like, oh, he's going to do a knee. The one thing I couldn't tell was who was it going to be. Was it really going to be Roman, or was it going to be Jey Uso? Or was it going to be both Usos? Like, I was a little torn on that one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be Jey. You know, 'cause for some reason, it feels like I haven't seen Jey in forever.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Yeah. Dude, let's keep talking about Roman then. I mean, he opened the show. He was a few segments inside of the show. I like what he was telling Paul. You're not going to be walking around my advocate looking like a bitch. And so he told Paul he's got to do it. And he said, I'm leaving, and he leaves. And then, yeah, Paul comes out. He tries to get up the stairs, but, you know, weebles wobble. They don't fall down. He blew out his knee on the old staircase, giving it his best. And he couldn't do it. He just could not proceed. But luckily, the card is subject to change. I love the look on Adam Pearce's face as he's like realizing all this as it goes.
Fuck.
They do such a good job. You know what it is? Part of their subtlety is that I feel like everyone there believes what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They believe it. And that's all
They're
I want.
invested.
I want a TV show that's... I don't want to watch Saved by the Bell. Time out. Wink. You know what I mean?
Speaking of Peacock, the new Saved by the Bell series is on Peacock.
Hell yeah. I got WWE Network and new Saved by the Bell. What?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, the gifts keep on giving.
Boing.
Yeah, Christmas all year, buddy. So good. So good.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So then Roman comes out, beats the shit out of Adam Pearce. There's like one or two times where Adam does a little something where he goes, he going to get a bit of a flurry? Is he going to tell Roman, like, hey, I'm not just going to get pushed around? And then Roman's all like, I'm still going to beat the shit out of you. And you're like, oh, fuck, he just got knocked out. And then Kevin Owens comes out of nowhere and beats the shit out of Roman. As TW takes, Bishop says he came out and caught an ass whooping.
You caught it.
Caught it. Kev, what do you think about this? I saw some people and even heard some terrible takes that TW Takes podcast, for one. If you want to listen to their terrible, awful wrestling takes, they have them by the spades. Terrible take that KO looked too strong against Roman, and now Roman looks like a bitch, more or less. He didn't say it that way, but that's what he meant. He's like, Roman's a little bitch now. KO catches him with two stunners and a powerbomb through a table, and what? And then Roman just stays down? What? He just got murdered! I think it's super important to go into, especially with a week in between. KO has to look like it's feasible for him to keep Roman down for 10 seconds. It's a last man standing match. And if Roman got up after one or two stunners for only 5 seconds, then you're like, oh, well, there's just no chance. And given the history we've seen with Roman so far, he's looked unstoppable. He has to look at least a little bit vulnerable. Kev, what do you think about all this?
I think the same exact thing. You need KO to look strong, or else, you know, you're gonna know the outcome of the main event match. So, you know, you need KO to look like he has a chance, because Roman, like you said, has been looking unstoppable, and you know, I'm sure Roman's gonna get his revenge, and you know, on Friday, to make it seem like, okay, who's gonna come out, make it more interesting, and yeah, you know, we'll go from there. But I had no problems with KO looking strong. We want him to, and yeah, go from there.
Yeah, I think it was. You had to show that KO, because he's lost twice in a row. You have to show that KO is still a force and still is a viable contender. He has to have believability in going into that match. Otherwise, there's no fucking point. I mean, and the one thing we know that we're getting out of it one way or the other is dripping with storyline, right? Because when Jey Uso went into the Clash of Champions, no one thought for a second he was going to pull this off. But by the time we got him going into Hell in a Cell, we thought, well, there's maybe, you know, there has to be that maybe.
Yeah.
And if Roman doesn't stay down for longer than 4 or 5 seconds for any given onslaught, then there's no way that you are buying that Kevin Owens stands a fucking chance. So he had to just lay out there and be dead, and I thought that was awesome, and I'm really excited to see where they go from here.
Yes.
We got some chatter in the chat. Guys, if you're listening on podcast, we are on twitch.tv/wrestling on the rocks. So you can come in and derail the show like our buddies like to. Justin says, Roman's gotten the upper hand on Kevin Owens for weeks, so it's not bad that he finally got the upper hand on Reigns. Exactly. Plus, he blindsided him with 2 stunners and a fucking powerbomb through. When he came out, he blindsided Roman, gets him into the ring, and sneaks up a surprise stunner, and then hits him with another stunner right away, rolls him out, throws him through a table. That was a lot of powerful onslaught. Plus, I think it super sold the stunner, because you also have to say that the stunner is enough. And not only is it enough, but Kevin might put it on more than once. He might be able to lock that in. He's a fast, furious motherfucker. And then he says, even if it's just once. Correct. I don't know what they're going to do this next week. Here's the other problem with wrestling booking, because we've been watching it for too long. If Kevin looks too strong going into the match, then we know he's losing the match. So it's like this delicate balance. You got to look believable, but not too strong.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's the only thing that I didn't like about this segment is that we still didn't see Jay come out. Because even after Kevin Owens comes out, even if Jay just runs out there, Kevin, gives him a stunner and he's done. We don't see him again. Do it. But to me, it felt like he left his head of the table high and dry.
You know what would have been kind of cool, actually, now that you say it that way? If when KO came out, because Roman had thrown Scrap Daddy Pierce up onto one of the Thunderdome platforms, and then KO runs out and takes Roman kind of away. What if Jay came running out and Adam Pearce did a crossbody off the top over both of them onto Jay Uso, and then both Adam and Jay are just out for the rest of it? Because then it was you know what I mean? That would show Adam Pearce isn't just a random dude looking to get his ass whooped. He'd also be, helping in that situation. He would look like a fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That could have been cool. That's a good point.
But
so yeah,
other than that, like I said, it's leading into Rumble, and I'm okay with it the way it played out, and it's making me interested to see what happens on Friday.
100%, dude. I'm so excited for Roman and KO again. Those dudes are so good. Cheers to Justin gifting out some subs in the old chat. Good dude.
Nice. Cheers.
Looking out for some of the others, the less fortunate. I call them the non-subscribers.
And you wonder why we don't have fans.
Hey.
He's gifting subs to the peons out there.
Yeah. Losers who listen and hang out every week. It's only the first episode. Of course, you don't have a ton of fans.
Yeah. Just starting out, baby.
Just starting out. Let's see. I'm super excited about them again, and this is one that we could easily be tired of by now, but we're just not. Let's see. So let's talk about some other stuff on SmackDown, and we'll get into Raw. Man, there was kind of a lot. I feel like they cram in so much on SmackDown, and it's just moving. And then with Raw, it feels all like, we're still on this? What do you think about all the Sami Zayn stuff, dude? Go ahead.
Raw. Well, I was just going to say with Raw this week, and I don't know we'll get into it, but it just felt weird. It felt like they backtracked a lot throughout the show.
Yeah.
They did something, then backtracked, and did something and backtracked, and this, it just wasn't entertaining. But anyway, Sami Zayn, I loved his protest. I loved all his signs.
Dude, he had 6 or 7 signs.
The one that was my favorite was Sami Zayn is still the IC champ, change my mind or something like that. I love that.
Yeah. I think it was Sammy was Rob, changed my mind.
That's what it was. Yeah.
It was done like the meme.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
good,
exactly.
Dude.
The only thing, and I'm absolutely sick of it online, but the only thing that I think would have been better is if he did the whole Bernie thing. Like
So
he put
you
up
don't
a
go
chair and
online.
put up the mittens.
He did. It wasn't on the show. He took a picture
Oh, really?
on his Instagram. It's him. He didn't have the mittens, but because those mittens were like handmade by someone for Bernie, but he put his hands over his knees and sat that way, put his mask back on, and they took a picture of him doing that. And then he was like, "Internet, do what you do," and they put like Bernie with him and stuff. And yeah, he definitely leaned into that too.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll have to send it to you so you can get a kick out of it.
That's awesome.
Because you'll giggle at it. He did a good job with it. But yeah, dude, it was so funny. And every time they like turned around, he had another sign. Go ahead. What was that?
I said I don't giggle, I laugh.
No, you're a giggler.
I know. The Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah. So I thought Sami was doing such good work here, and I was like, is he gonna be out here for the whole show? And I was like, I hope he is. I hope he's out here for the entire show, and I hope that. Sorry, I just got derailed. Fucking, my squirrel just ran across the hall, and I was like. I like when he gets up early and just decides, I'm fucking here to party.
And by squirrel, he means sugar glider.
Yeah, it's a sugar glider. He's running around, quietly running around. So funny. I thought I heard him barking earlier.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Snake food.
It's not snake food. Yeah, I went over and she's just staring at me. He was fine.
Yeah, he's just
He
sitting
has
there
food.
barking, and then he's just like, I'm gonna run across the hall real quick. But Sami, I was like, I hope he's out there the whole show, and I hope that during the obstacle course, someone trips over him. I was like, it'd be so good. He ended up being out there up until Big E's championship match, releases himself from his own handcuffs, and interferes with Apollo Crews. Go ahead.
I wish he. I was gonna say I wish he did the whole key on his tongue thing again.
That'd be funny, just like for no reason because he didn't have to.
yeah, just.
Yeah.
And he unlocks it. And, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I would have loved, the commentator to be like, why was he holding the key like that? Or hiding the key there?
Yeah, and you know that Michael Cole or Corey Graves could have played that off so well too.
Yeah.
Those two are having too much fun sometimes, though. I will be honest. Sometimes I'm like, guys, calm. All right, stop trying to make each other laugh. But it's still funny. I still love it. There's having.
Corey's grown on me quite a bit.
Me too. We credit Carmella for that.
I think he's also really pulled back on the mentioning every single woman that comes out and what he wants to do to her or something. Like he's calmed down on all those like hypersexual comments.
That's a good point.
He has to. He's on Fox.
That's true. He's on Fox. Maybe he's just not getting away with it now. But yeah, there was definitely a real push he had there about just how much could he sexualize and objectify every single woman that comes out. And that's definitely been pulled back. So maybe that's part of what it is. Maybe we're starting to see just his general wit, and we're enjoying it. That seems fair. But so Sami was out there. He was protesting. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, they probably told him to... Excuse me. They probably told him to quit trying to be the king. Quit doing the Lawler thing. Just, do you.
Maybe.
And I think it's worked for him.
Yeah, I think it's worked for him really good too. So Sami was out there with a bunch of signs. They were all hysterical. He was out there for the Charlotte Flair Asuka versus the Riot Squad. He was out there for Cesaro versus Dolph Ziggler. Daniel Bryan was out there. He was out there for Sasha Banks and Reginald. I liked how as people were walking out there looking at him and just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, and moving on. It was so good. Mm-hmm. He's like, trying to get them involved.
I loved when Cesaro came out.
Oh yeah,
like when Cesaro comes out, he's like, I can say this in different languages, and then he said something in French, and Sami just kind of looked at him and was like, yeah, that was it.
Yeah, and I love put the mic in front of Sami. Goes, no one.
Like yeah, but I love that they're pushing Cesaro, and he's getting some momentum. Always a big fan of Cesaro, and glad that he's getting a push again.
Exactly. Again, Here's my thing. We'll talk about it and then we'll circle back a little bit. If every single time someone says who's the most underrated superstar, the response is always Cesaro, I start to really question if that person's truly underrated. They sound like they're rated very high by literally everyone. Even Drew McIntyre, I saw a little clip of it with on his Broken Skulls, which I didn't watch because why would I? But so Drew McIntyre's out there, and Stone Cold said, "Name one of your, name a current roster guy who you think is underutilized, or underrated." And he goes, "Well, I think the standard answer is Cesaro, right?" And you're like, "Yeah, you're right. It is the standard fucking answer." And that's not to say that I'm not a huge Cesaro fan, because I am, but I put Cesaro in a different catalog in my mind than I do like a Stone Cold. I put him in there with like X-Pac and a Mr. Perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I put him in there with those, like, dudes who are not world champions ever, if at all, but are keeping the show going and are absolutely tremendous and always have the best match of the night. Like, to me, he's not in bad company. He will go down in the Hall of Fame. He's also held a tag team championship with quite literally everyone he's ever tagged with. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, I don't know. I guess I've said it a few times. I don't think he's underrated. I do think he could be utilized to do more. But I thought this was fantastic. Him and Dolph Ziggler fighting in the face of Daniel Bryan was fantastic. I actually thought Cesaro did pretty good on the mic. I heard a few people say that he's not so good talking, and this was an expose of that. And I really felt like it was the opposite. I was like, oh, he's a little more natural, a little more clear-spoken than he was the last time we heard him. I felt like he was improved on the mic.
Well, he has his teeth now again.
That's true. With Thyberg.
Yeah, I mean, see, I just think Cesaro is one of those guys, like you said, the Mr. Perfect, that, the Pipers even, you can put him there, where he's great, everyone loves him, he's a great worker, but he doesn't go in the back and whine and crying and saying, hey, I need this, I want this. Just, hey, I'm here to do my job, I'm going to do it well, and go home at the end of the day.
Yeah, I do think that there is a narrative in the back that I hear unusually repeated by people in interviews after they leave the company, where I feel like there's a core group of people that say the same line every time. I don't know if anybody else caught on to it, but they all say it. Eric Young said it. EC3 said it. The Good Brothers said it. And I hate to say it about some of these guys because, the Good Brothers I fucking love. I just got a new Good Brothers t-shirt and the new Pro Wrestling Crate. I'm so fucking excited for it. I was thinking about getting their Talking Shop whiskey. They just released it. Love these guys.
Yes.
But they all... yes! Get it!
Yes! Get it!
But I do think that it's a very particular line that I think feeds into a really negative attitude, which I think might be a little more telling than we give credit to. But he says, if you can't find 5 minutes for me on your 3-hour wrestling show, then your system is broken. Eric Young said it. If you don't have 5 minutes in your 3-hour wrestling show for Eric Young, then your system's broken. If you don't have 5 minutes for EC3 on your 3-hour show, then your system's broken. Everyone feels entitled to 5 minutes every show. And I think that there's a certain mentality that comes along with, well, they just won't give me my 5 minutes. And I think that, remember that GIF that even came out of EC3 where it showed him when he first showed up and he was like doing his entrance and he's all super stiff-armed and really exaggerating. And then like a month later he comes out and he just kind of like puts his hand up like here. And people are like, oh, you can tell he already doesn't give a shit. And you're like, yes, we can. And so can the back. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so, like I said, I hate to say that about some guys because I do think the Good Brothers said the same thing. If you don't have 5 minutes for the club, then your system's broken. Okay. But I think in turn, the other side you see of that is guys like Cesaro. Unfortunately, you see that with guys like Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. I never heard them say anything negative. Mojo, never heard anything negative. It's never this, if you don't have 5 minutes for Matt Cardona, your system's broken. It's, I'm always ready if they ever need me for a single moment. No way, Jose. He never said that.
Well,
And I think Cesaro's that same mindset. I don't think he ever thinks, if you don't have 5 minutes for Cesaro, your system's broken. I think he thinks, oh, you're in luck. You gave me 5 minutes. Let me show you what I can do with it.
well, and with that mindset is, you just don't want to burn bridges at the same time.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these guys, their main goal is to get to WWE.
Yeah.
So, you get there, it didn't work out. How many people look at Drew McIntyre, for example. He got fired, he got let go. He came back, and now look at him. They've given him more of a push than we want at this point, but
Yeah, McIntyre.
yeah, if you burn those bridges, you're not gonna ever go back. And if that's what you want, then fine. But a lot of times, like you said, it sounds like these guys are bitter and entitled, and well, me, and it's like, hey, at the end of the day, this is a company. They may use you 10 times in a month. They might use you once.
Yeah.
Just do your job and go from there.
To be honest, Dolph Ziggler, I've never heard him say anything like that when they haven't used him for months at a time. I mean, he might say it should have been him, but
that that was all promo.
Should have been me. And it should have been me. I fucking love that guy, dude. Fucking love him. I loved everyone in this segment. Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler, and Daniel Bryan. And I don't think any one of them thinks, if you don't have 5 minutes for me, your system's broken. I think every single one of them thinks, oh, watch what I'll do with 5 minutes. Remember Dolph Ziggler versus Goldberg?
Yeah.
So fucking good, dude. Kept grabbing the mic. Yeah, but you couldn't do it again. You got lucky.
Yeah.
So good, dude. He turned what should have been the stupidest, shittiest night of his life into one of the funniest Goldberg matches ever. And no one got hurt physically or hurt character-wise. He wasn't less of a character for Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler wasn't buried at the end of it, and Goldberg didn't get any shit on him. Goldberg looked like a badass motherfucker. Dolph Ziggler still looked like the fucking Dolph Ziggler in every way, and it was so good. That's one of those matches where you watch it and go, "Oh yeah, there's definitely a spot for comedy in wrestling that doesn't hurt anybody." It was so good, underrated for sure. Yeah. That's underrated. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, and Dolph's another one, like you said, just completely underrated.
Yeah, 100%.
Or
Justin says in the
underutilized.
chat.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, not underrated. Underrated, because I hold them up. I think it's underutilized is what the two get misconstrued.
I think so too. Justin does say Dolph sold his ass off for Goldberg, and he did. It was hysterical.
Yeah.
I don't know. We got off on a tangent there. Let's get back on track here. My bad. Real quick, Charlotte Flair shit all over the Riot Squad. What do you think of that?
If I could take one positive away from it, I'm glad that the women's titles showed up on SmackDown, but then Charlotte came with them.
Yeah.
Dude, she fucking no-sold every literal thing that Liv and Ruby did, even when it was a tag team move, when it was a tandem offense move. Two people powerbombing you, and she kicked out before one. She never even waited for a 1 count, ever.
Yeah, the whole time I'm looking at her and Ruby, and I'm thinking she's moving and acting like a heel. I'm feeling sorry for Ruby, so I don't know if Charlotte's picking up on that, but yeah, she is not the good guy in this situation to me.
No. I felt like this too, because I've said once or twice here and there.
She's the victim.
Yeah. Like once or twice it's come up that I think Bayley is good. Sort of, right? Sort of. We've talked about it a little bit here and there.
Only once or twice.
Once or twice. It's come up. Briefly. One of the things I said about Bayley at the end of her championship reign was almost every single person in the WWE SmackDown women's roster seemed like a number one contender at this point. Everyone was asking when Liv and Ruby were going to get their title shots against Bayley. I feel like they did. Maybe they didn't. They should have. But they felt like they could. I felt like this was such a perfect example of Charlotte forcing people down a level to keep herself at a higher level. And I don't know. I'm not saying the person. I'm saying the character. I don't know anything about this. I'm not a backstage person. I don't want to talk shitty about a person. I'm not trying to talk shit about a person. The character Charlotte right here made Liv and Ruby both collectively as a tag team seem less than mid-card. They seem like they didn't deserve a title shot. They seem like they have no business even going for the titles. Going into this match, people had been saying for months how they couldn't wait for the Riot Squad to win the women's tag team championships. And then this right here played out in such a way where you're all like, yeah, the Riot Squad are rookies. They have no business being here.
Yeah, they look like jobbers.
She made them look like absolute jobbers. Shitty, man. I don't know. Billy Kay looked goofy, but... did you notice anything?
When doesn't?
Go ahead.
No, yeah. I was gonna say, when doesn't Billy Kay look goofy? But yeah, I mean, it's because even on Raw when they were facing. Oh no, never mind. Yeah.
We'll get to that, but yeah, there was some
But-
shit there too.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy because I don't know. We'll get into Raw because there's like everything that's going on with Charlotte right now is like complete opposite of her or what she should be. They should be showcasing her talent and stuff like that, and it's the exact opposite. She's not, like you said, she's not making anyone look good, and that should be a problem, but it's not for whatever reason to me. And like I said, we've said it 100 times, we're just outsiders looking in, but to me, there's a bunch, there's flags than right now with Charlotte.
There's a bunch of what? Say that one more
Red
time.
flags with
Red
Charlotte
flags. Yeah.
instead of
100%.
quality stuff. Red flags.
I mean,
Yeah.
Jerry Lawler, he said it on his podcast before, talked about how his whole rivalry in Memphis with Jimmy Hart was every week he had a new guy. Every month it was like a new guy for this main event match, and he had to make it look like this person was going to kill him. Kamala is arguably famous because of his opening rivalry, those first matches ever against Jerry Lawler, because Jerry Lawler made him look like an absolute killer. Because, as Jim Ross says about in his podcast, Bill Watts always told him when he didn't put over enhancement talent as being a threat, he got yelled at. He goes, I caught an absolute ass chewing. He goes, why would I ever put someone on my TV that wasn't good enough to be a contender? And why would anyone who's a champion beat somebody who isn't somebody? You make every single person you can go up against somebody, because it doesn't mean anything if you beat a nobody. And I'm not putting nobodies on my TV.
Yeah.
Why is Charlotte making the
look
look like nobodies, dude?
Yeah. And look at Cody, what he's doing with a lot of the stuff in AEW. He's literally taking nobodies and, he's having good matches with them. And I don't want to say nobodies, but like people, that we haven't really heard of beforehand.
Yeah.
And a couple of those guys ended up getting contracts from AEW, and now they're there full time. And it's like, cool. Like, this is great. You're supposed to elevate everything, and it just seems like Charlotte's looking out for Charlotte, and that's it.
Yeah, there was even moves that Ruby was doing that Charlotte literally just like shrugged off or stiff-armed her and just didn't do it. And you're like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's clips of that. You like go back and watch that match, and you'll see it. She just refuses to do stuff with Ruby, and Ruby's trying her ass off to do anything. You're like, what the fuck? Like, you can see it happening, and it's crazy. It's crazy because we shouldn't see that happening. From a fan standpoint, we shouldn't be watching a match saying, what is Charlotte doing? She's not moving with anybody. Like, it's weird. Mm-hmm. It's weird and uncomfortable when we can see it from the outside. In the chat, real quick, Justin saying Charlotte brings everyone she's in the ring with down. She's like a virus for the women's division. I don't want to agree with that, but I definitely see what you're saying, and I hear you. I just try to be more more on the positive side of things. But right now it's real rough. Here's the other thing. We were saying for a long time we wanted a break from Charlotte because we understood how good she was. We just weren't excited to see her. And we wanted her to take a break. So she leaves for 6 months? And when she came back, it still felt too soon. We need a break.
Mm-hmm.
Producer here. I think also it's the fact that when you see her come back, you already know what that means. Yeah. It's not like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. Like, let's say if Becky comes back soon, we that doesn't mean she's going to get a championship automatically. Like, there's still this possibility of, oh, we don't know what's going to happen. Oh, whose ass is she going to kick? Or, what's going to happen with Charlotte. I feel like we never get that element of surprise. It's always like, oh, I'm sure they'll give the belt to Charlotte.
That's true. There's no surprise when she shows up she comes back and she wins a title. You go, how fitting for me. Yeah, it is very fitting for you. I don't know. We'll talk about Raw. We'll get there in a bit because it was more of the same. Let's talk about a couple other things in here real quick. We won't really go over Big E and Apollo other than it's going really good. Sasha Banks versus Reginald, dude. A lot of people were talking about this intergender match. What'd you think of it?
I liked it. I didn't, expect much.
Yeah.
But Reginald, doing his, parkour, flippy floppy stuff was awesome. I loved it. I love that's one of the things I like about wrestling is watching things people can do that I can't.
Yes.
I can fake throw punches and do all that stuff. Like the way he, dove kind of out of the ring and landed on his feet. It was like, holy shit, that was, athletic as hell. And it's awesome.
Precision. His absolute precision in where he was moving and how he was moving there was phenomenal. He did that one thing that was kind of like a flip where he almost did like a reverse dive with his feet sliding out between the bottom rope and the mat. Because it wasn't like he just slid out under the bottom rope. His feet went between both. He didn't touch the mat on his way out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't just your typical backflips. This guy was doing crazy stuff. We looked it up because on his Instagram he mentions it. He used to be in Cirque du Soleil. And I went, oh, okay. And that's not to downplay at all.
That makes sense.
I can see it now because here's the deal: is I actually knew somebody whose dream was to be in Cirque du Soleil, and he was the greatest breakdancer I ever saw. The dude's also the best capoeira guy I ever saw. Capoeira? I always say it wrong, and I apologize. I used to watch this guy train all the time. I used to take pictures of him a lot. He had the word circus tattooed on the inside of his lip because his dream was to be part of Cirque du Soleil someday. I don't think he got there, and I think that was more of a other things that got in the way. But I think this guy's skill was incredible, and it showed me a lot of what it takes to be in that level of stuff. Mm-hmm. These guys are incredible with this stuff. And then I actually got to see Cirque du Soleil perform a couple of times. We saw them once here in Tucson. I've seen them, I think, once or twice in Vegas myself. The precision and their athleticism is unmatched and unparalleled. And that's what that guy was even talking about at the time. He goes, this isn't just like a trapeze act. This isn't just you got to be able to do a backflip. He's like, you've got to be able to do a backflip and land on a specific part of your foot to be able to hold up somebody else. And you're like, what? Mm-hmm. Like, there's other things at play.
Because it's so risky. Because you have other people's lives in your hands usually. Or I think the one we went to was on ice, which is even more dangerous. So, yeah, it really is just a really beautiful craft, I think.
It is. It's absolutely a craft. And I think it definitely has a place in wrestling if you use it the right way. And I thought this way was absolutely phenomenal. And I saw a lot of people shitting on it, talking about how this was a weird way to try and craft an intergender match that could possibly look competitive while giving the man no offense whatsoever. I felt like it was different. I felt like it was a dude who was trying to play with Sasha. I felt like it was great storytelling. I felt like Carmella's facial expressions were top notch, just to be honest. Like, everyone involved in this was telling so much of story with their faces.
Yeah.
Producers.
Well, yeah, because also the story was that he did not want to fight. That was all Sasha. So of course he's not trying to just do regular fight moves.
That's true. He wasn't in here because of a grudge. He wasn't trying to beat up Sasha. He wasn't like, I'll fuck that bitch up. He's just happens to be there while Sasha's like, I want to beat up your dude. And Carmella's like, go for it. And he's like, what the fuck you guys just do?
And then he even tries to woo her with a rose, which of course isn't going to work. You know?
If we know anything from Angel Garza, is a rose is not enough.
You need to get a box of chocolates too.
Yeah, you got to get a box of chocolates. You're going to have to do some things. If you're Ric Flair, never mind. Justin says Reginald. Reginald says was
you get him a robe.
Yeah, you just need to get a robe.
Yeah,
Justin Time says Reginald was impressive as hell. All he did was flip and sell like crazy for Sasha. It was awesome. Said it during the one-on-one. Said it during the one time on here. He's 1,000 times more entertaining than James Ellsworth ever was, and I agree with that too. And I also like that aspect of Carmella's character. This I can't help if men are obsessed with me. I love that aspect of her character. It's so snooty. This whole segment I thought was done so well. It told an amazing story. It was incredibly entertaining. It went much longer than I expected it to. Sasha got the upper hand because she, was actually looking there to beat him up some. And he was trying actively to stay out of the fight. So he was toying with her, and I felt like they did a great job with it, man.
Yeah, I love that it was actually a match. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be as long. The same thing. I wasn't expecting it to be as long a match, but I was glad that it wasn't just silliness. Yeah. I was just thinking, oh, they're gonna throw in a comedy bit, or it's just gonna be, really goofy, or 1,000 people are gonna come and bombard the ring. But I was really glad that they didn't, and they just let them do their thing, and it was awesome. And different.
You know what it was? I think that clicked, and we'll throw it back to you, Kev, because I feel like we're walking all over you here.
I'm used to it.
Yeah, I got kids. It wasn't just Ellsworth out here doing comedy for comedy's sake and being a goofy dude who gets beat up and just taking bumps. It wasn't I can take bumps. It was I can tell an impressive story through movement. And Reginald was telling a story through movement, much like Dance does, but he looked a lot less like Dance than some tag matches I've seen. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't look as choreographed. He looked like super impressive. He actually had he did this one thing, and I didn't even see anybody replay it, and I was like, you guys are dumb. You missed it. He does this thing where he's on the mat, and he goes to stand up, and he puts his hand down flat and kind of does this, like, half... I mean, I know the, like, breakdance terms, and I can't think of what it is, but his, like, feet are almost doing, like, a windmill as he comes around and gets on his feet. But that's a capoeira, like, dismount. That is a move. Like, that is a thing. That's how they get up. So I was like, oh, shit, this dude's not just moving around like this. He's, I don't want to say dance fighting, but capoeira is kind of a half dance, half fighting style where you use your body movement and motion to get that aggressive force.
But also, he's not trying to fight. So, of course, yeah, use dance moves or, gymnastic moves. Use whatever you have to get out of the way because, yeah, he's not trying to fight. Yeah,
we had a whole lot of moments of like, oh, shit, that was cool. Oh, wow. It wasn't a whole lot of like, oh, yeah, he's getting his ass beat by a woman. Kev, Justin does say in the chat that sequence into the assistant Meteora was done so cleanly, 100%. This guy's precision is next level. Kev, tell us what you want to say about this match, and we'll move on to the next thing.
Yeah, no, pretty much exactly everything you guys said. It reminded me of, like, what the producer was saying. He was avoiding everything. It was like the Matrix. Sasha was shooting at him, and he was doing the Neo thing, just avoiding everything. And, yeah, he was just trying to avoid confrontation and avoid an actual fight with her. And, obviously Sasha, caught up with him. But, I think it was great. I would love to see more of him. I just, character-wise, I don't know where you would go after being a sommelier. if he is interested in actual in-ring work. But
Go ahead.
no, that was it.
Yeah. He is contracted to NXT, so he's an NXT superstar and a sommelier right now. So,
No.
Yeah, just fantastic. Let's see. Well, I'll just say King Corbin defeating Dominic Mysterio. I like where this is going. I want to see more of this. I don't have anything else to say about that though, other than I just really liked all of that.
Oh, and yeah, Dominic's he's looking good. He's looking like he's getting in better shape, because before he looked kind of like, oh, what's this kid doing here?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see. Yeah.
Anything you
more
want to say about that, Kev?
No. The only thing I kind of took a step back from was seeing the size difference between Ray and Dominic, and then seeing the size difference between Corbin and Dominic. I was like, holy shit, Corbin's a lot bigger than Dominic, and maybe I just haven't been paying attention, but it was kind of like really obvious when they were going at it.
Corbin is huge, dude. When he was in that bar with us during Rumble, if you remember, he was sitting down on a stool, and he was the same height as a lot of people who were standing.
Really?
It was crazy. We're like, what the fuck? Like, it was insane. So let's talk about this last segment, or real quick. Street Profits did a thing with Sonya Deville, and it really just kind of like solidified Sonya Deville as kind of a GM type figure. I don't have anything to say about them necessarily, other than they're downplaying their loudness a little bit. And I like that Sonya Deville looked a little bit more like she's getting ready to be in charge. And then tell me what you think about this, and then we'll go into the Bianca Bailey thing so we can move on to Raw. No, Tate's coming in the chat, reminding us to do a thing we already did. Jerk. Get that Royal Rumble watch along.
Too late. But I don't know. I'm interested to see where Sonya, GM Sonya comes, or what she's gonna do. It's weird that she's like, I don't want to say shadowing Adam Pearce, but is he hiring? Is he training rather his, the predecessor to actually just, hey, she's the GM of SmackDown and he goes to Raw or whatever, which I'm okay with. Like ever since, Kurt Angle, Paige, and even further back, I like the GM role. I like the, hey, I'm going to make this type of match. I always thought it was weird when they would, the superstars would call for something and then it would just happen. And it's like, well, who said that's okay? Who's given the green light to it? Yeah. But, if she's just back as a GM and she's going to, strictly be SmackDown or whatever, cool, let's go with it. Let's roll and, let's see where it goes from here.
100%. TW Takes Bishop is reminding you it's Daddy Sonya. But 100%. I really like commissioner roles, GM roles. I like the idea of someone saying, yes, this match will happen, or no, this match won't happen because I've said so. We've talked about it before. Regal does it amazing in NXT. I think Adam Pearce is doing a good job of it. I do think the idea of Adam Pearce maybe leaning more towards Raw while Sonya maybe leads more towards SmackDown could be really nice. I do think there should be someone who makes those decisions. I want this match. Well, I'm not giving it to you because of this. Or you can't just have it because you want it. Or I think that's a great idea. Let's do the match. Like, I do think there should be that authoritative figure in wrestling to say, I'm writing the matches. You don't just decide. Because for how long was it like AJ would come out and be like, well, let's get a ref out here and let's do the match. And you go, what? And then a ref just runs out. And you're like, what? Like, are you telling me that the guy who put together this whole show didn't have anything to do for the next 20 minutes? You know what I mean? Where with like a figure like a commissioner or a GM, it feels like they're making the decision of, I will allow that match to happen right now because I know what the show has and I'll cut this other thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Where when wrestlers just want to do it and they do it, it's kind of like, what was supposed to go here? Kev, Bianca Belair versus Bayley
sir.
in the Ultimate Athlete Obstacle Challenge. I don't have a lot to say about this other than it was a perfect segment. Here's the thing. Tell me what you think about it. Have we ever seen an obstacle course style segment ever go this well before? Obviously, Bayley was milking some time to buy Bianca some time, but she still looked like an idiot doing it. She still looked like a jerk. She was avoiding things she didn't even want to. She straight up cheated. She was showboating there towards the end, and then Bianca goes through and looks like an absolute beast. And this whole thing was designed to make Bayley look less than Bianca, but Bayley also looked meaner than Bianca. And I felt like it was done perfectly. Bianca looked like an absolute badass. She looked like the strongest person in the world. And Bayley looked like a total bitch in the whole thing. Kev, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you just said. Like, it made Bianca look great. It made Bayley look like the heelish snake in the thing. The only thing I didn't like about it
Oh, God.
is when Bayley, what?
Go ahead.
The only thing I
ahead and
didn't like is
shit on
when
a perfect
Bianca
segment.
went to go shoot. It wasn't perfect. And but the only thing I didn't like is when Bianca went to go shoot the basket. I wanted Bayley just to run up and just block it. Like, send it 3 rows deep, like the Kembe Mutombo, and, be like, boom, I won.
You know what I actually wanted there instead, and I thought it would have been both what you thought and what I was thinking could happen here. The back of that hoop, when they showed it around, it had that handle on it. You know, the one that adjusts it right away?
Yeah.
I wanted Bayley to run back as soon as Bianca goes over there, run and jump and grab that thing and yank it down so it goes up an extra 6 feet. And then have
Yeah,
Bianca just... Yeah. Because then it goes up super high. Because there's those adjustable cranks on there. I wanted Bayley to be like, fuck, and jump over the barricade, grab it, pull it down, and go, ha, 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 and have Bianca just back up and fucking... Whew. But I also wonder if maybe Bianca's not as good as basketball as we think. Because Bayley was varsity on her basketball team.
But that makes it even better that she blocks it.
That's true.
Like I said, if she just blocked it, and
That's
like I
true.
said, just straight to Kembe, like, no. And then the time limit goes out, it'd be great.
That's true. Bianca didn't have to win, and she still could have looked just as strong. So that is true. I'll give you that.
And also shout out to Bianca's documentary. It's fantastic.
Oh my god, dude! I know you didn't get a chance to see it, but Bianca has a new chronicle out. It is incredible. Really something you ought to watch. Anybody who hasn't seen it, go out and see it. It does ruin any chance Bianca ever has of going heel. She's got such a tremendous story. She's so easy to back. Everything about it was just phenomenal. It was just a perfectly put together piece where you kind of go like, fuck.
Yeah, like she's gone through a lot of real shit, and just it was crazy just to me how open and willing she was to share her story. It was like there was so much you did not need to say that she just proudly said that. I was like, damn, good on you, like way to be an inspiration.
Yeah, she definitely spoke out on a level of that I thought was deeper than a lot of those ones get. I feel like even when you hear people talk about going through certain struggles, they really beat around the bush to not say what the struggle was, and she does not hold back in this. She goes, this is what that was. This is where I was. And you go, oh, and this is how I got out. So just tremendous piece of business there. Tremendous.
Is it on Peacock?
It will be on Peacock soon enough. Okay. So check it out if you haven't. Kev, you want to run through Raw real quick? There's not a ton on here that I think is definitely worth talking about. I mean, it wasn't a bad Raw. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I don't know. Like you said, just, I briefly mentioned it. It just felt like, I don't know. Like you said, just, I briefly mentioned it. It just felt like, 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 it just felt like like somebody driving with both feet where they slam on the gas and then they slam on the brake.
Yes.
And it was just like so like stop and go, then reverse. Like they did the Thunderdome thing, the entrance that they do in at the beginning of all the shows in the middle again randomly.
Yeah.
And I thought, because I was watching it on the USA app, I thought that it started from the beginning again. And I was pissed, and then I'm like, oh, it's the timer's here, but it's here, and like I fucked with the goddamn thing for like 10 minutes, and then I was like, what the fuck? Like I should be here, and then they're like, oh, welcome back, and I was like, oh fuck, like I just wasted 10 minutes because I thought you guys fucked up, or the app fucked up.
Yeah, 100%. I thought that was weird too. I was like, what? Whose entrance is this? This is crazy. And I was like, it's been saying Thunderdome for a while. Who's got rain in their thing? What is happening? And they're like, welcome back from the commercial. I was like, really? We just did a Thunderdome again? Here we go again.
Yeah.
Songs. Yeah. Let's just talk about a few things that happened here. It felt like real stop and go. One of the things that comes to mind stop and go wise is Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose, Charlotte Flair, all in a series of stop and start matches over and over again. Fuck, dude.
This was painful.
This whole thing was so hard to watch and get through every bit. Charlotte's just fucking stiff-kneeing Shayna, and you're like, you're... Fuck, my God.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Someone's going to get hands in the back.
I fucking hope so, dude. It's so fucking
Yeah, and I actually really do like Shayna. Like, I like watching her be a badass.
Yeah.
Because I know she's a badass at MMA, so... Like, if she wanted to, she could really clock you, dude.
Which also makes me think, like, I think the fact that Shayna didn't square up on Charlotte and give her a receipt is an even bigger showing of the problem with Charlotte right now. You're too big for yourself right now. If Shayna's not willing to say, you won't kick me in the face without consequence, like, what the... I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it was a great look. I don't know what's going on with Charlotte because, like, she's gone for 6 months and comes back, and every single match she's in looks weird and sloppy and terrible. And you're like, what is this?
Yeah, she looks worse than when she left. And whenever somebody comes back, you want them to look better. Dean Ambrose coming back. He was in great shape. Triple H. You expect them to be gone and be hungry and train, and not just appearance wise, but then a lot of times it's character wise too.
Yes.
Just be different. But she comes back being the same thing. She's the female Drew McIntyre, where she's a fucking heel in a face role. Watching this 6-way, like the producer said it, like Charlotte felt like the heel and Shayna looked like the face. And it felt like they were on the wrong team. And I even a couple times, looked up and saw a couple people fighting. I forgot who it was. I think it was Charlotte and Lacey. And I was like, wait, they're supposed to be on the same team. And then I was like, oh wait, no. Lacey's fucking Rick. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Although Marsh really loved that clocking her in the face.
Yeah, I'll say that about that segment in the back where Charlotte comes back all serious. I'm serious right now. She looks like she's acting. Remember the subtlety I said was in SmackDown? Well, they've done everything they can to remove the subtlety from this.
This is like the straight up acting.
Acting? This is like a kid coming in. When when your kid walks up and they're looking at you and they're scowling going, I'm mad, Dad. You know how your kid did that at one point? And you
no,
go,
I
what
just
are you
smack
mad
him and tell him to go away.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm mad. No, you're grounded. Get out.
Yeah. Now you're mad.
Yeah. Oh, you're mad? Okay. Pah! Yeah, it felt like that. She comes in, I'm angry face. And then walks in there. Lacey, I'm telling you to leave mean like because I'm mad. And Lacey's all like, whatever, I was trying to get laid. I'm out. Peace. And dips. And then Lacey's all like, Dad, you're old
Charlotte.
and shitty. Oh, yeah, Charlotte. And then Lacey comes in and just clocks her in the face. And I was like, whoa! Yo.
Sorry. I imagine her reading the script and actually reading, like, the verbs.
Yeah, reading the thing. Yeah, I'm mad. Charlotte walks 3 paces forward. Don't say that part. You don't say that part. It's in parentheses. You just move.
Oh, no, I do what I want, so yes.
Charlotte opens door. I'm angry. What? What'd you just say? Charlotte opens door. I'm angry. No. You just open the door. Right. I know. I'll be opening the door. Charlotte opens door. No. Stop. You do the thing, but you say the words. Right. I'm saying the words. Charlotte opens door. I'm mad. Stop.
Yeah. Don't say that.
Yeah.
And then, I text you when I was watching it, and I don't remember if it was this or the other segment, but it was before. When she talks about being Miss WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I was like, who calls her that? Or who's ever said that? And I text you that, and you're like, oh, remember they made this. Yeah, you're like, remember they made that stupid shirt just to justify her being in the main event? I was like, oh, yeah. And then, I told you, I was like, to me, it sounds like a nickname that somebody gives themselves. And no one else calls them that, but they call themselves that. And, like, it's frustrating because I want to like Charlotte. I understand the athleticism and what she can bring to the table. But there's so much just going in my mind or in my eyes going against her that, like, I just want her to go again.
Yeah. And not to mention, she's the nicest person. Like I said, when I met her, I was like, oh my God, I just became a Charlotte fan. And then this stuff comes out and you're like, what is this? Like,
yeah.
Justin in the chat does say that's why I call Charlotte an android. Everything she does is so robotic. I didn't even piece that together that way, but yeah, 100%. Apparently I agree because that was exactly the impression I was putting on there. Mm-hmm. But then Lacey turns face. Because in my house, if you punch Charlotte square in the mouth, you're a baby face now. I can't boo you if you knock Charlotte the fuck out with a punch. I'm like, wow, yeah. Kick her while she's down, too.
Yowie, wowie.
Yeah. And again, we're talking strictly about the character. I know a lot of people try to blur the lines between character and person, and this I'm not trying at all to talk poorly about the person that is Ashley, who portrays Charlotte or whatever. I do believe that person works very hard for the things that she attains and stuff. But I do think that this character of Charlotte, the way it's portrayed and the way that I'm fed it, makes me feel these ways. And I just wanted to clarify that. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, if Charlotte wants to block me because of this stuff, I get it, and I wish she wouldn't if she did, but also I'm not trying to be mean in that way. The way I'm seeing this character is this way, and that's how I'm reacting. I'm not trying to talk negatively about the person who works incredibly, incredibly hard to be at the top of her game. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the exact same thing. Like, we say the same thing about Drew McIntyre. We hate the character. Like, this is getting old. It sucks. You keep pushing. But him as a person, we've seen interviews, and it's not just these two. There's several people that, we're fans of, but we've heard people that have met him and say, hey, these people suck. And then there's people that, we don't like, and then we meet, and these people are great. Like, holy shit, like, this needs to be your character, just you. And, there's, like you said, we don't hate them because we don't like the person. We just hate the character. We don't like where the character's at right now. We don't like what the character's doing. And that's wrestling. That's the whole thing. People, it's weird because people like look at actors and stuff like that and do the same thing. Well, I didn't like him. He seemed like an asshole in this movie. That's his character he was fucking playing. He was supposed to be the asshole. You're supposed to not like him. But you see him in another movie and, well, all of a sudden he's different. Yeah, because now he's supposed to be likable. And it's weird that people, can't differentiate from that.
Yeah, and we're definitely just fans here trying to have a good drink and have some nice laughs with our friends, and that's all this is, guys. And at the end of the day, because I see people sometimes they go back and forth on these social medias, and it's like, oh, so you fucking hate Charlotte Flair? You wish this and that? No, I'm booing. I'm not a fan of the character. I think the character is coming off this way, and I'm rooting actively against that character. I'm not actively rooting against that human. I'm like, I hope that person loses their job. I'm not saying that, and it's not like this person's worthless to the industry. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this character, as I'm seeing it right now, boo. I'm booing you. And if you're not a heel, then I don't know what to tell you other than I still want you to lose.
Yes. And the other thing I was going to bring up too, when we were talking about SmackDown, is I hate how Charlotte's portraying this victim persona.
Yeah.
All of a sudden. Oh, poor me this, poor me that, dad, leave me alone. It's like, what the hell? Lacey's just trying to get some of that Ric Flair drip. Let her get some.
It's true.
Be happy for your dad.
That's true. I know. In some ways, it's kind of a win-win. Space Mountain is a hard line to get through.
Yeah. Unless you got the fast pass, baby.
Oh, that fast pass. Yeah. So, I don't know. I just saw a lot of people get real mad at Lacey. She posted a picture of herself in lingerie with, like, red stockings and stuff. I'll send it to you. And in the back, she put that Bernie meme that we were talking about, but put Ric Flair's face over the Bernie body and made Ric Flair's face, like, purple. And people were all like, oh, my God, she's crossing the line. I was like, that's funny. She's ridiculous.
She's doing what she gets paid to do, basically.
Yeah. So people were like blocking her and shit, and I was like, that's so good. I love seeing some old school heat. I love people getting worked. I love when I get worked. Kev.
Yeah. Work me, baby.
The show did open. We didn't even talk about it because that's how little I give a shite. So we'll talk about it briefly. It opened with Drew McIntyre and Goldberg going head to head, toe to toe, nose to nose. Lips to lips and tongue to tongue. These guys, butthole to butthole, squared off before Rumble. Did this make you more excited for the match? I didn't like the whole Miz and Morrison thing, only because, as much as they're annoying anyways, I didn't like that the whole thing was put together to make Drew McIntyre look like he was on the same level as Goldberg by them kind of echoing each other. Mm-hmm. It came off to me as one more step in the over-pushing of Drew that I'm not behind.
Yes. To me, it was, Drew had COVID and stuff like that, so that's why he couldn't be there, and he, did his little thing with it. And,
week.
It's kind of... Huh?
He was there last week. Drew and Goldberg also faced off last week.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. I was just getting to the message he was portraying.
Okay, I got you. Because last week we had Drew McIntyre and Goldberg on the dirt sheet. They were right there. They squared off once before.
Yeah, I know.
Identical. They both look the same.
100%.
Yeah.
Nothing changed. But I lost my train of thought. God damn it. So no, I lost it again.
Here it goes. It's gone. Drew, because he was trying to look like he was just as strong as Goldberg in every way. They were trying to make him look like mirror images of each other.
Oh yeah. So, Drew had COVID. He was gone. He comes back. I understand. I love the message that he said. Hey, it once again in this industry, it made somebody like personable, if you will. Like, this, this is this, isn't that? We'll get through it. I had it, kind of like with Roman, when he, had his cancer announcement, and said, hey, this sucks. It's back. I'm going to keep fighting. I'll be back. It makes them human. And so I was like, okay, cool. His message, like I said, was cool with it. Let's fight. Let's get through this. Great. But if this is your main event for the pay-per-view and your, what do they call it, the go-home show?
Yeah.
Before Rumble. Like, I needed something. I didn't need to see Goldberg and McIntyre just beat up Miz and Morrison. If without context, if you just watched it on mute, you would think, hey, these two are facing those two at Royal Rumble.
Wish I had a mute button here.
And I just needed more. That's it. That's all. I'm not any more excited. Maybe a little less, but at the same time, I really wasn't excited to begin with.
Here's the deal. I will be thrilled if Goldberg wins. I'm going to lay that out right now. I'm going to fucking love it because... Go ahead.
I was actually going to ask that. I was going to ask your opinion on that because I'm kind of on the same boat. I've never been a Goldberg fan, so him coming back has never excited me one bit. But I'm sitting here saying if he takes it off of Drew, I'm okay with it.
100%. Nothing would make me happier than to
probably for the first time ever, I'm rooting for Goldberg.
100%. I have literally never rooted for Goldberg. I was always a bigger Gilbert fan than I was a Goldberg fan. It's a shame we haven't seen Gilbert in a really long time. We just got Goldberg back to back. But I've never been a Goldberg fan. I've never rooted for him. I've never wanted him to win. I did think it was cool he came back this time around to show his kid what was up, and then his kid did that weird shit and walked around with his shirt off, and you're like, dude, you didn't have to do that part. But well, it was for the last Universal title.
Win in the moment.
The first one. Yeah, he was in the moment, and then he took a big old bump, and all that stuff was fine. And it was just cool to see Goldberg have a good old time and then leave. But you were kind of like, okay, but how much that needed to happen versus didn't, whatever. But, again, I've never gone into a match and thought, I want Goldberg to win this one. 100% I want Goldberg to win this one. Not even a small part of me goes, how cool would it be if Drew McIntyre wins against Goldberg? Not even a little bit. I can't wait for Goldberg to win this title and take it to Mania against anyone that wins the Rumble. My money is on Brock Lesnar, but I do think it could be Hulk Hogan because I think Hulk Hogan versus Goldberg for the world title at WrestleMania is money.
Yeah.
How good would that be, dude? People would love it. People would love it. And I love when the internet loves things. And if there's one thing I know, there's nothing the internet loves more than Goldberg winning. No?
Yes.
Is that right?
We could ask JL Lunar.
We'll have to ask Lunar. Lunar's definitely behind it. A little bit of chat. Goldberg, like he was gassed after just walking. I did hear that. I didn't watch the whole thing. I'm not going to lie. I was blinking on that one for sure. Splitter Fox did say, did anybody see how out of breath Goldberg was while walking to the back? That's really funny. I mean, I love it. If he's out of, I love it. I want a gassed Goldberg to win. Let's see.
A longer than 5-minute match would be great.
Yeah, I want a 45-minute squash. I want Drew McIntyre to get absolutely no offense in, the match to go 45 minutes, Goldberg to be totally gassed and still win. And all he did was beat the shit out of Drew the whole fucking time until he just couldn't anymore. He goes, I just have to lay down now and get the pin.
Last man standing.
Last man standing. Last man breathing. Let's see. Kev, tell me what you think about this Retribution angle right now with Xavier Woods, Slapjack, with Kofi being said he's injured and can't be in the Royal Rumble. So Mustafa Ali is taking Kofi's place. I love the idea of Mustafa saying, you took my place for Elimination Chamber. I'm taking your place in Rumble. I think it's an amazing story they're telling, and I like to see where it goes. Tell me what you think about all of this.
I think it's weird that Xavier's involved in it. But I do like that Mustafa is saying, hey, Kofi. It's weird that he keeps calling him out, but at the same time, you understand why. Because it's like, all right, like he said in his promos, Kofi Mania wouldn't have happened if he didn't get hurt. So now, hey, I'm taking your spot. You took this from me. I'm going to take your spot. I don't know if it garners enough momentum into the Royal Rumble, but at the same time, like, I just don't. Outside of Xavier being a part of New Day and Kofi and all that stuff, I don't see why Xavier keeps facing them, unless it's just pushing Mustafa, and then I'm okay with it. But I'm also kind of rooting for an Xavier solo run.
So you want a solid Big E run and an Xavier run, because we already had a single Kofi run.
Yeah, Xavier Woods could do it for sure. I do think the reason Woods is being used is that Kofi's injured. That's right.
And
so the whole
he's
angle
back.
is Kofi's injured. So they got to use Woods. But I agree. I agree 100%. I think that this is truly what the fans have been asking for, that they're not willing to accept. Because the one thing that we like the taste of, that the internet fans refuse the taste of, is Crow. And right now what you're getting is a long-term storytelling through Retribution, which is all the fans have ever asked for. We want a good story with Retribution. We want a long-term storytelling. We don't want this shotgun stuff. That's 100% what you're getting with Retribution. This is a, 2 years in the making story, and you're getting it with Retribution, who's on a winning streak. And if you refuse to accept that, it's just you not liking that you got what you ordered.
Yes.
Splinter Fox does say in the chat, and thank you for Splinter Fox coming through, man. We haven't seen you in a bit. We see you from time to time. Always glad when you come through to rile us up. Cheers to Splinter Fox.
Cheers.
He says,
Now I
Ali
need to
versus
take my
Kofi
break real quick.
WrestleMania. Calling it. I can't wait. The promo that Kofi did today about Ali was amazing. Sleeper match at WrestleMania. Dude, 100%. I love you say that, Splinter Fox. I love it. I didn't even read you said that yet, and that's what I was saying right here. This is going to be the big match. I'm telling you. And not like the match. It's not going to be the Universal. This is that grudge match. It's going to be in the WrestleMania card. It's going to mean a lot and be incredible. Kofi versus Mustafa Ali? Are you kidding? Those two are phenomenal. So I love that you're excited about it, because you see it on that other level of there's a lot here and there's a lot on the table. I love that from you, man. Just in Time does say, loving how they're telling the story. It's finally something to get kind of investment in Retribution. Yes! Thank you! Yes! Our chat is killing it tonight, man! See, online, you see a bunch of back and forth. Other people's like, oh, this isn't enough. Oh, Retribution. Some fucking douche was on there messaging Slapjack saying, please tell creative you want to sit aside with them and ask them for something else that's killing a wonderful talent on it. Shut the fuck up. Pay attention to what you're watching. You know what I mean? I love you guys. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, I don't know why fans can't just say, that's not for me. Because we clearly know what we watch that we're like, okay, this is definitely not for me. Like, why is that such a bad thing to say?
I think beyond the not for me, I think part of it is also a refusal to allow it be for you because you've decided you don't like it already, right? So Retribution may not be for me, or Retribution may be a longer story that I don't see yet. And it's okay not to see it yet. And Crow is delicious. You're only eating Crow when you critique something for being negative. The taste of Crow is because it's become good. That's amazing. My two favorite things in wrestling as a fan, getting worked and eating Crow. Justin in the chat does say, saw Kofi's promo and I loved it. My only gripe was, where was that Kofi when he was WWE champion? I think we got an edge to Kofi while he was champion. I think it ended abruptly, but there was definitely a lot of that. I think there was even that with the Gauntlet match. I think we got to Kofi Mania because we saw a glimpse of that Kofi. When he looked at AJ and AJ said, you don't got to do this, just go home. And he goes, I've been here 11 years. You don't tell me to go home. That was that Kofi. Let's see. That seriousness would have made me get more invested in his championship run. I think he had it. I think if you go back and rewatch some of his promos up in two matches, You see it. He's goofy when he goes out there, but then he took that real serious tone and was all like, no, man, I'm not just here to be a flash in a pan. I'm here to make a statement. And then Brock Lesnar murdered him. So, it is what it is there. Spinner Fox says, I just want it to be a one-on-one match where Kofi tells the New Day, stay here, and Ali say, I got this. This is my fight. One-on-one, no interference. 100%. 100%. I don't want Retribution versus New Day. I do want Mustafa versus Kofi one-on-one at Mania. Absolutely. Kev, was there anything there you wanted to throw in?
No. I mean, it's cool to see Retribution finally getting some wins in.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see. Sheamus defeated John Morrison
and
then
I
lost
was
in the handicap. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, am I the only one that every time I hear one of the commentators use the word retribution from now on, that I kind of like grimace a little? Because I forgot Corey Graves used it on SmackDown, I think. Like, he's trying to
just in
and
general.
it's like,
Yeah.
Shouldn't...
Yep. I glitched. But yes, I agree. Even when I hear it in other companies, they go, they're looking for retribution. I was all like, that's the wrong show. Like, I think that's just us, though.
Yeah.
Justin Time does agree. Also, I believe Kofi and Ali would kill it one-on-one with no interference. See, I'm loving... It's only our first episode. Every show at Wrestling on the Rocks is our first show because we can't figure it out. But somehow, some way, we got the best people in the chat on our first episode. Sheamus, I really like him looking strong and good. He did lose to Miz, which I thought he had to, because when I was watching it going in, I was like, yo, if Sheamus beats both these guys after all that, and I was like, Miz is going to look like such a fucking douche, and he already looks bad enough as it is.
Yeah.
I was like, Miz has to look like he could cash in and win it. You forget he has the fucking Money in the Bank all the time. He even cuts that whole promo last week while he has the actual Drew McIntyre and actual Goldberg in the ring. And he still comes out with the last line. Yeah, he had to win that one. I wasn't thrilled, but I love Sheamus looking strong and beating the shit out of people. Let's see. The only other thing, AJ versus R-Truth, I really, really liked. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. It's, it was good to see both of them, square off. Like, I think Truth a lot of times get lost. He gets lost in the shuffle of the 24/7 and how good he actually is.
Yes,
he
definitely
plays the goofy, dumb stuff, but in the ring, he's got tremendous ability and talent, and I want to see more of it. And like I said, just not in the 24/7 spot sometimes, and it was cool to see that.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah, fantastic. Riddle beat all of Hurt Business. There's a lot of story going on with Hurt Business in inner turmoil. I think it's a little early because they just got all those titles, but that's where we're at with it. I don't have a lot to say about it other than I'm kind of see how it all plays out. I think we end up getting Riddle beating Bobby Lashley at Rumble. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, they said future. They said future. They didn't say at Rumble, which I kind of scratched my head at too. Because if it happens at Rumble, great, cool. But I have a feeling it's not.
I'm just not into the Riddle character at all. I'm not excited for anything that he does. So that's just me.
Yeah.
That is just you, because I love Riddle. Like, I think he's hilarious. I think his action with Truth was so great. I think Riddle and Truth would make a great tag team.
I prefer that to Riddle and Hardy. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. Kev, closing out the show was Alexa Bliss versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. This match got crazy. It got wild. We had Alexa's Playhouse earlier on where the camera gets in real tight and her eye and her mouth flickers with fiend-like appearances. During this match, she literally transforms to like 2019 Alexa Bliss, maybe even 2018. She's scared. She seems confused, doesn't know what's going on. Asuka looks concerned as all hell. And then before you know it, the lights go out. Everything turns purple, which is cool. It's not quite red. And it comes back to a fiendish Alexa. However, we're not full-on disgusting-looking fiend. It's just Alexa with black lipstick and a black overall skirt. She then goes on to battle Asuka, seemingly about to murder her, when a burnt-up, crispy, Freddy Krueger-looking Randy Orton shows up, RKO's Alexa Bliss, and it's assumed that Asuka won. Kev, what did you think of all this? I thought it was pretty much magic.
I mean, I liked it. I think I didn't like that Randy. I didn't like the way it ended. I didn't like just the RKO to Alexa. You know, it was like I don't know. I just I wanted that match to play out more. I think if Alexa wins the championship, I don't necessarily think that's the right move, because, you know, she's just fire without it. If she gets her shiny new toy, you know, it might be cool, but where do you go from there? And like I said, the whole thing with Charlotte and Asuka, like, it just seems like she's gonna turn on her. Blah blah blah. Don't like, but you know, I don't know. Like it was one of those times where you watch something, you see it play out, and then you're like, almost raise more questions than that. And I was like, I don't like it. I don't love it. I definitely didn't dislike it, but what's next? And, you know, I think, once again, going into a pay-per-view, I think they're missing out on, you know, they did it with Fiend a couple times, and now it seems like they're doing it with Alexa, where they're not going to be in the pay-per-view in any capacity.
In the immortal words of the late, great Dan Aykroyd, Kevlar, you ignorant slut. How could you not like Randy Orton kicking the shit out of Alexa?
Yeah, I'm confused.
I also think that Alexa should win the Raw Women's title, because who the fuck else on Raw is doing anything of note? Grim Reaper says in the chat himself, this is the greatest thing happening on Raw. Alexa's the best angle on Raw right now. Splinter Fox says they made him more goofy. Riddle. We're going back to Riddle real quick. Made Goofy more Riddle. I prefer Indie Riddle, the hard-hitting layback Riddle, kind of like the NXT Riddle in the Fight Pit. I agree with that. And then let's see. Other than that, Fabtina says, great tease for the end of Raw. Grim Reaper says, yes, indeed. Justin says, absolutely love the playground segment and the ending. Saved me from going on a small rant and made sense. I don't know who he's ranting to, but I'll hear it. Splitter Fox says, Becky is coming back. I'm calling it. Winning the Rumble and taking the title back. She is looking great. If anybody's seen her supporting McGregor, she is ready to go.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the picture she shared with her daughter? I mean, yeah, she looks great. She looks like it's possible. Again, I won't fantasy book Becky. I'm too invested in her as a human being, so I can't do that to myself. If she came back, awesome. If she doesn't come back, awesome. Whatever you want to do, Becky, you do what's best for you. But as far as this segment goes, Alexa definitely should be winning the Raw title as it stands right now. No one else in the Raw Women's division is doing anything even remotely close to what Alexa's doing. And think about it this way, dude. How weird and sick would it be if Alexa wins the Raw Women's title and then comes out with a new Alexa skin face fiend-like title?
Yeah, that would be great. I'm not, like you said, I'm not opposed to Alexa winning the title. You know, but well, saying is that I wasn't ready for her to win it right now. Like, I want a little more build up between Alexa, and don't get me wrong, what Alexa's doing on Raw is great. There's no complaints. Her and Randy and everything that's going on is great. But I think Alexa winning the title right now is not the right choice, because I think crazy, more hungry Alexa could be more intriguing.
Right now, there's a discussion going on. Is there a difference between Alexa and The Fiend? I do think, because I think that this whole let me in thing could be next level if Alexa is the Fiend right now. And I think Randy Orton RKOing Alexa is more of a sign that Alexa is actually the Fiend and not actually Alexa. And we got a glimpse of that. So I think we are seeing a little bit of a separation there. To me, I would have loved to see the title change hands right here because it is the go-home show. And one thing that excites me the most about wrestling is getting worked, getting excited about things we didn't know was coming. Can you imagine going to Royal Rumble and Alexa, who had declared herself in the Rumble, is no longer eligible for the Rumble because she's got the Raw Women's title? That shakes up the Rumble. And now are we going to see Asuka in the Rumble? Maybe. How cool would that be? Could Asuka win it a second time? Maybe. You know what I mean? Like, I like
that's
those
reserved for
kinds of
Charlotte.
scenarios. Charlotte's going to win back-to-back. She always does. God.
Yeah. And see, and
no comment.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, as much as you wanted Alexa to win the title right now, I think more of that is you don't want to see Charlotte winning it, so her and Asuka are pitted up against each other again. And that's
I've got no desire to see that.
Yeah, no, I don't either. But I think that's the way it's going. But I think at the same time, like I said, you have a more hungry Alexa, more, like crazy Alexa. Like, this is what I want. This is what I want. And this is what she's fighting for, but she can't find a way to get to it. I think would be, great.
You want a crazier Alexa? This Alexa's not crazy enough for you?
It's crazy, but yeah, crazier would be better.
Let's up it up a notch.
Yeah.
You want
Alexa
her so
madness
crazy
right now.
she
Let's
buys
go.
a new car and asks you to put the old radio in it. That's how crazy you're looking.
Hey.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It wasn't the old radio. It was a newer radio that is similar to the old radio.
What? Justin does say, I feel like how far into the story with Orton and the Fiend is. Wait, what? Hold on, guys. I've had half a bottle. I feel
False
like
start.
with how far into this, false start. With how far this story with Orton and the Fiend, she is. I feel like it's best to save Bliss winning the title until after this is over. Bliss winning the title does nothing for the story, except it gives the Fiend power. What I think about all of this, too, is that we're still having a hard time grasping Alexa's place in the funhouse.
Yes.
She seems more or less just like a victim, and the rest of the time she's
Consumed.
the Fiend, more or less.
Yeah. Consumed by the Fiend. I think it'd be cool even if she'll, like, imagine she wins the Raw Women's title and comes out with just straight up the Fiend's title. Not even like a new design for her, but just like it's the regular Fiend's title. Because it's like, yeah, when I hold a championship, this is how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the mini one we have on here on set. Twitch.tv/Wrestling on the Rocks. Like, I think that would be crazy. I think you can give her the story because there's so much going on here that it adds to the confusion of it. And I think there's a level of confusion in here that's kind of fun. It's a bit of a tornado, as it were. Grim Reaper does say, I think Orton is in the Rumble and then the Fiend takes him out. We need a Fiend return at this point to defend the honor of Alexa after the RKO, which I believe is true. The RKO was the exclamation point on this chapter of the story. And Spinner Fox says, in a more important note, I wonder if they're going to have Edge win the Rumble and face Drew. I did think it was cool that Edge cut that really nice promo, and he's entering the Rumble. I don't think he's winning it. I also don't think he can face Drew because he has to face one of the champions, and Goldberg will be winning the title. Kev?
That's what I was thinking. Edge versus Goldberg.
Ooh, spear versus spear.
Mm-hmm. Who's got the best spear?
Yeah.
But because that's been a debated topic. Who has the best spear? Roman.
Yes.
Edge, Goldberg. I can see where they're going. Like, there was one of the guys that hit me up on Twitter, was asking, who do you think's, who do you feel is favorite right now in the men's and women? And I was like, well, to me, women's, as much as I don't want to see it, I think it's Charlotte.
Yeah.
But as, the men's one, we talked like a week ago. I was like, the men's one was, it could be anyone. At this point, it could be Cesaro, it could be Sheamus, this and that. As soon as I saw the Edge promo, I was like, okay, I might. We might know who it might be.
Yeah.
Because last year it was like, to me it was clear. All right, Drew's winning this. He was getting the push. Let's go. And I could see Edge winning it, and then I could see Edge versus Goldberg, Edge beating Goldberg, and then here comes Randy again trying to go for it, or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is the only match that I could see out of the men's Royal Rumble that would kind of make sense.
Yeah, that or Brock Lesnar winning.
That was the other one I was thinking too. I'm like, oh, Brock coming back. I don't want to see it, but at the same time, I think if Brock's in the Royal Rumble and wins it, Drew's beating Goldberg.
Drew won't be beating Goldberg. What? Have you seen Goldberg? He's so good, dude. He wins all the time. Splinter Fox does say
he does, but what I'm
Biggie...
saying is, I think.
Go ahead.
I think they would be WWE would be more invested in a Drew versus Brock 2 than they will be a Brock versus Goldberg 17.
Yeah, 100%. I think if Charlotte wins the Rumble, that her title match against Asuka should be on the kickoff show. Splinter Fox says, so then Biggie... Yeah, at Fastlane. So then Biggie versus Roman will be the true main event. If Goldberg wins the championship, I can dig it. Biggie WrestleMania moment. Also, this WrestleMania, they've already said, will be too big for 2 nights, for 1 night, yet again, and be a 2-night WrestleMania with 2 main events. So I think it's very easy you get to a place of Roman and Big E. I think it's probably too early for that. We're probably more realistically going to get like a Roman versus like a Daniel Bryan type scenario. Or you could even get a Roman versus Brock Lesnar. You could get a Roman versus a John Cena. I think you'll get something bigger like that. And then on the other night, you're going to get Goldberg defending the title against probably Hulk Hogan.
Or Braun comes back. But Braun. But I was going to ask real quick because they said WrestleMania is going to be at Raymond James Stadium or whatever it's called in Tampa.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl is also going to be held there. And the Super Bowl, they said, is going to hold, I think they said 12,000 or 20,000 people. Yeah. Is WrestleMania going to have fans?
Yes. They're going to try and have 5,000 more than Super Bowl.
Okay. Did they already say
Super
that,
Bowl gave out their number. Yeah. Super Bowl said something like 15 or something like that. Or I think they said 15 or 20. And then WWE was all like, well, then we want 25. Like...
Yeah, because they got a smaller ring. They don't have to do a whole football.
Yeah.
Easily put 5,000 more people social distancing in there.
Also, this is probably the only time in history that Super Bowl and WrestleMania were happening in the same stadium the same year, right?
I don't know. I think so.
I think it'd have to be because it's usually the first weekend on both of them. Justin does say, the crazy thing I keep thinking about is what if WrestleMania this year is just a repeat of what we got and what we didn't get at WrestleMania 36? I've thought about that too, actually. They might just be redoing a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where we're going with it. To be honest, going into this Royal Rumble, I don't truly feel like I've got it on lock on who's going to win the Rumble and who's going to win the men or women, I should say. But at the same time, I also don't truly feel like there's anybody I'm truly gunning for. There's very few people where I'm all like, I want this person to win because I want to see them in WrestleMania against this person. I don't see Roman putting on a match against somebody right now that feels like anything other than a formality, no matter who it is. And I think KO could win it at Rumble. He's that good. He's that believable. But at the same time, I think that right now Roman is on such a different level. Who do you put against Roman that's a believable possibility? I just don't know who. I mean, that's why I said maybe like a John Cena. I think there's a story there for Daniel Bryan, but do I think he's going to win? I don't know. What do you think?
I was just going to say, you have KO win it at Rumble, and then Sami wins the Rumble. And it's KO over Sami at Mania. Your wet dream.
Splinter Fox does think it's going to be Big E. He says the long storytelling, Heyman giving him Big E the pep talk. I see that and I hear that and I get it. I think it's too soon for Big E. I think we're looking at Big E main event next year. I think he's just now got the Intercontinental title. The idea of getting Intercontinental title and the World title shot within a couple months of each other, especially all things considered, to me, I want a more organic, long-term Big E. I want a Big E who's going to be on the top for a longer period of time. The biggest problem with Kofi Mania is it was a shotgun to the top. So they didn't have an out. They didn't have a plan to keep Kofi on top. So he didn't. They got to a point where, like, okay, we're ready to have Brock on top again, and we're ready to go ahead and put Kofi back where he was. And I think that's what happens when you shotgun those things. If it's not truly a more organic rise to the top, it's, okay, we'll give you the top for right now because that's going to be best for business, as it were. But once we see it settle down a little bit, we're going to go ahead and put you back where we had you because that's where we like you. And I don't want that for Big E. I didn't want that for Kofi. So I don't see it the same way, but we'll see. And Splinter Fox says WWE is nothing but the shotgun. Sometimes. I mean, I think Triple H and Stone Cold and Rock and Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and probably all of your favorites would disagree. But I think that Goldberg would probably agree. Kev?
That was, speaking of, real quick, one more last time about Goldberg, is they said that this is the one title that's been elusive to him his entire career.
Yeah, he's never tried for it, for the record.
Well, I don't, but to me, it's hard to believe.
He never got the WWE World title?
Yeah.
Well, he would get like the heavyweight and the Universal and stuff like that. Because remember when he came back, he went straight for the Universal because that was like the one they were trying to prove was prestigious.
Yeah.
So the WWF wasn't one of them.
Yeah, I know, but it just seems to me more of a shock that he hasn't gotten that one. You know, even before, even with the buyout and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. It does seem a little bit weird, especially like we said, where it's been like 20 years since he's lost a contention for a title. He's always won them as a contender. Justin does say that's why I put it out there that as a possible repeat. Goldberg loses to McIntyre, but still challenges Roman at WrestleMania, which is true. Roman but the thing is Roman was gonna beat Goldberg because that was gonna be big for Roman. Roman's not gonna beat Goldberg after Drew's already beat him too. Because if there's one thing we know about Roman and Drew, it's that Drew is Roman's favorite number 2. Yeah. And he's not going to be eating leftovers at that table. He says, my pick to win the Rumble, I don't know why, is Keith Lee. I also don't know why. But I think he'd be good.
But I'm
excited for this Rumble.
I could see it. I don't want to see it.
100%. Well, I'm not even against it, to be honest. I would love it. Here's the deal. This Rumble, to me, is a little bit of a wild card because there's a lot of weird factors we've never had to put into play. If someone's got COVID and they were going to win, well, they're not now, you know?
Yeah. But see, I just don't think, you know, if Keith Lee wins, who did he go against? I don't want to see Keith Lee versus Drew. Yeah. Keith Lee versus Roman, maybe. They had that, you know, spot in Survivor Series. Was it last year?
Yeah.
Maybe build off of that, but, you know, I don't know.
I think the story would be
Drew.
Drew. I think the story would be Drew, but I agree with you. There was that Survivor Series bit that you could build off of for Keith and Roman. That would be nice. But we'll see. We'll see. We don't know. We don't have inside information. We aren't that level of journalism where we lie flat out about things without telling you we're lying about it. We are just a bunch of drinking buddies having a good time talking about wrestling and watching it while we can. Guys, tune in and subscribe and follow us and TW Takes Podcast, twitch.tv/TW Takes Podcast to get your notification when we go live this Sunday for the Royal Rumble
Sunday.
Sunday. We're going to be doing
And
a watch along
also-
for Royal Rumble. Go ahead.
And also, try and get one of the last entrance spots into the Royal Rumble. Well, our Royal Rumble, not the actual Royal Rumble. Wrestling
The
on the Rock shirt.
raffle. The raffle is
Yeah.
what he's trying to talk about.
Spinner Fox says people I don't want to win the Rumble, Brock and Charlotte. I love it.
Yes.
He goes, anybody else will be fine.
Unless that is your number to win a Wrestling on the Rock shirt.
Good point.
And then all of a sudden you're gonna love Charlotte and Brock.
Yeah, Spinner Fox, if you haven't joined, you and others can also join our raffle to give away 2 T-shirts and a pin during Royal Rumble. We're going to be assigning everybody. We have up to 30 entries. We're running short, so grab them while you can. If your entry number is 14 and Brock Lesnar comes in as 14, you're going to want Brock Lesnar to win because it's going to mean that you win a Wrestling on the Rocks T-shirt.
And it's free.
And it's free.
Unless you don't want a Wrestling on the Rocks T-shirt.
Yeah, if you don't want a Wrestling on the Rocks T-shirt, dude, like, bummer. Free. We will buy the shirt and send it to you. Don't even worry about it. Guys, this Sunday, Terrible Wrestling Takes TWT podcast. We'll be doing a watch along that we are going to be sitting in on and hosting on our channel. Message us at WOTR the show, at Ref Marsh, at Kevlar on the Rocks with an X. Find us on Facebook. Message us on YouTube. Make a comment that just says, I want a shirt. And we will add you to the raffle.
Send a carrier pigeon.
Send a pigeon. Send some crow, because it's one of my favorite flavors. Just let us know you want in, and you're in. And you can win up to 2 T-shirts and a pin.
Yeah. I'm going to buy you a bottle of Old Crow. So when we have to eat it, we have to take a shot of Old Crow.
That's actually a great gimmick.
We hate it, but we love it. Yeah.
100%. Like when I had to eat crow on Alexa Bliss, when I was like, she's terrible, terrible, terrible. And all this stuff started happening. I was like, I'm going to eat crow right now. Alexa Bliss is the best thing on TV. I should have done a shot of Old Crow. Because then that teaches you a lesson. I hated it. I love it. 100%. Spinner Fox says, don't put that juju on me. Anybody but Brock and Charlotte. Is Splinter Fox in the raffle yet, Kev?
No.
Splinter Fox, you're not even in the raffle, dude. You got to tell us you want in. You don't just get in. Anybody who wants in can be in. You can win up to 2 shirts and a pin. I cannot say that enough.
Yeah.
TW Takes podcast. At Mrs. TW Takes. At Ref Marsh. At Kevlar on the Rocks. At Marsh Ref on Instagram. At Wrestling on the Rocks on Instagram. Find a way to message us and just tell us you want in. There's a few spots left, and we want you to get a free shirt. Guys, check us out. Have a drink with us. Hang out. Kev, is there anything else? Are you ready for last call?
I'm past last call.
He's ready for last call. Sprinter Fox says it best. Ding dong, hello. Bailey is the best thing on Raw and SmackDown. Absolutely. Guys, that's the last call. Find us on WrestlingOnLarks.com. Hit up our links. Hit up our contacts. Anything you got to take to get in this raffle. And join us this weekend for a drink while we watch Royal Rumble. Pat Patterson's baby. Love and respect to Pat Patterson. R.I.P. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.